It's a two-day reunion in the Big Apple, and everybody is here. Don Mattingly spent his entire 14-year playing career in pinstripes, and tonight he returns here for only the second time as a manager. Last summer's home run derby in Miami was a display of power. Defending champion Giancarlo Stanton fell just short in the first round in his home city. It was a coming-out party for Miami's other slugger, Justin Bour, who put the nation on notice of his power. But it was the Yankees' larger-than-life phenom Aaron Judge who won the contest and established himself as the face of the game. Tonight at Yankee Stadium, Donnie Baseball, Miami's new big bat, last year's AL Rookie of the Year, and the reigning National League MVP and longtime Marlin all reunite under the bright lights of New York to start a two-game series next on Fox Sports Florida. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Yankee Stadium. It's the Yankees and the Marlins, a short two-game set, but that doesn't mean that we are short on storylines in this series. Not one bit. With that, we say hi again, everybody, and welcome inside the broadcast booth. Paul Severino and Todd Hollandsworth. All right, so this is the first real road trip of the year. No disrespect to Philadelphia, but 3 cities, 10 days. Hope the guys are ready.
Well, you remember that bad weather in Philadelphia? There was some bad weather early, but it's moved out. We're going to have baseball tonight. I know we're all excited about it. We've got so many storylines, so many sluggers in the same building. We're excited for this one.
Which storyline, which slugger could you be talking about? Perhaps
Pick
it's
one.
Giancarlo Stanton, of course, old buddy down in Miami, but now he is, of course, with the New York Yankees, but that doesn't mean that he didn't have a huge impact on the franchise.
Well, he certainly did, and listen, the Marlins came up, saw Giancarlo. They spent some time together during batting practice. It was great to see, and here's why. Look at the numbers. His franchise ranks, home runs, RBIs, that clearly stands out. Of course, everybody knows in Miami. 2017 National League MVP, a fantastic season last year. It landed him in the Bronx, and this team in the Bronx, this Yankees team, they've got high expectations. Him and Aaron Judge together in the lineup.
And of course, we've talked about it a lot. There's a lot of power that was in the Marlins lineup last year that no longer is this year. But one guy that is certainly a part of this lineup day after day and is coming up more so, Justin Bour.
Now, Justin Bour has been locked in, and here's the difference. You think back to those first 10 ball games, foul balls, the contact was a little different. You watch him now, it's all about picking his pitch and putting a good swing on it, and when he does, the home runs have been coming, the hard contact has been coming, the exit velocity has been there. Let's hope for a big series, big two-game series for Justin Bour.
A pinch-hit home run in yesterday's ball game, so as he tries to take this newly hot bat on the road, we will all watch it together. Again, a short two-game set here in the Bronx. And when we come back, it's not just Stanton, it's also Caleb Smith pitching against his old team. And we'll talk about that when we come back to the Bronx. Nothing to Hide by W.B. Mason. Who but W.B. Mason, the official office supply company of the Miami Marlins. Chevrolet, see your South Florida dealer today. And by your local Toyota dealer, Toyota. Let's go places. Here in the Bronx, old face in a new place. Giancarlo Stanton, a member of the New York Yankees now, facing his former team, was presented with a Silver Slugger Award from the 2017 season. There's certainly some other hardware that he'll collect as this summer progresses. But again, as we noted in the open, a lot of hugs, a lot of handshakes, and nice to see an old guy, an old face before the game today.
Well, Giancarlo Stanton was only a Marlin until he became a Yankee this winter, and that's really what it comes down to. So many friends, people he grew up with in this Marlins organization, and you certainly saw that in the pregame today. Spent a lot of time over saying hi to Miguel Rojas, Justin Bour, and the likes of so many of these Marlins.
As did Don Mattingly. Don Mattingly's kind of home as well. He's been here before as a manager with the Dodgers back in the day, but now his first time here as a manager of the Marlins. Yeah, 2013. This new building opened up in 2009. Of course, was a former hitting coach with the Yankees along the way, but now, since he's been some other places, he says it's always special to be back, but maybe not as much of a storyline as we all like to make it out to be. Don Mattingly, not in his first year, but Aaron Boone certainly is, and he inherited a win-now team.
Yeah, and that'll be the expectations for the Yankees, as is typically every season. The Yankees expect to win the World Series. Why? They've done it an awful lot throughout their storied history. Off to a 7-7 start. They're just excited to play baseball today, and I absolutely mean that. It's been Yankees haven't played since Friday of last week.
Yeah, and looking at the early forecast of tonight's game, I thought might not be playing a game. And talking to some of the Yankee reporters before the game, I joked it's a good thing they're getting this one in. It's a little bit like a bye week in the NFL if they didn't play. But we will have baseball. Here is a look at the Marlins lineup presented to you by Southwest. Once again, Derek Dietrich in that top spot. He has been very productive out of that number one spot. Miguel Rojas in the last week or so, a little more than that now with an 8-game hit streak. He too has been very productive in his new spot. Of course, the first interleague matchup of the year means there's a DH, and that tonight is Tomas Talis, who will bat 6th against Luis Severino. And you go up and down the line, all the different accolades. He was 3rd in the American League Cy Young vote last year.
Well, and his numbers certainly justify that. An incredible 2017 season. 3.50 ERA. His last start, a rough one against the Boston Red Sox. His 2 prior, outstanding, typical stuff. You see the 20 strikeouts and the 18 innings of work. Has a big-time arm. Let's go ahead and give you the scouting report tonight. The Auto Nation scouting report for Luis Severino. Breakout, the 2017 represented that for Severino. He has turned into an ace for this team, no doubt about it. Elite ace numbers in 2017, 2.98 ERA, 230 strikeouts, and oh, by the way, he keeps the ball on the ground. High velocity, one of the bigger fastballs in the game, a four-seamer. It's what he throws, 175 swing and misses on the pitch last year, averaging 97.7 miles per hour, second to none. Those secondary pitches, has again a great slider, one of the best sliders in baseball, and a changeup that it ranks pretty well, top 10 in the league.
And 0-1 on the way to Derek Dietrich, who fouls one off. Dietrich comes in after a homestand in which he was 8 for 25, a .320 batting average, 3 runs scored, a double, and RBI, 19 hits for the left fielder. It's tied for 6th in the National League, and again has been in that leadoff spot for a week or so, save for Sunday when he was down in the cleanup spot to give Justin Bour a day off, but producing at the top of this order for Don Mattingly the last week.
Dietrich being tested already with the Severino slider. He's thrown him back-to-back pitches, 89 miles an hour, lots of late movement, trying to get him to swing over the top.
A ball and 2 strikes to Dietrich. That one inside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. And in 30 at-bats in the number 1 spot for Don Mattingly. 30 at-bats, 9 hits. It's a .300 batting average, so doing his best to set the table in front of Miguel Rojas. try to get this Marlins offense started. And you can perhaps maybe hear kind of faintly the respect as those who may not be familiar with what happens at Yankee Stadium. After the first pitch at Yankee Stadium, the bleacher creatures, as they are so well known out there in right field, they start what's called a roll call, and they go around the diamond, Aaron Judge, and all through, and they just did Donnie Baseball. So an ode to the Marlins skipper, as that one just misses. Now 3 balls and 2 strikes to Dietrich.
A good take by Dietrich. 99-mile-an-hour fastball just off the low corner. He's really worked a nice at bat here to start the ball game. Severino has never faced the Marlins before. And we're starting to accumulate some numbers now with Severino. This is his 4th start on the season. Lefties are hitting 241, righties 194 against him. He's not given up a home run yet this year.
Again, the payoff pitch to left field. Gardner moving over, and he will haul that one in for the first out.
Tonight's starting defense for the Marlins brought to you by Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center. Gardner gets the start. The Yankees defense. Gardner gets the start in left field. Hicks in center field. Judge in right. And Duhar, Gregorius, Torres, Austin, Sanchez behind the plate for Severino.
That'll bring up Miguel Rojas, who on the homestand was 9 for 25. It's a .360 average, 3 runs, a home run, a couple of RBIs, and he just continues to hit. It's now an 8-game hit streak to match a career best. And in that span, he's hitting .344 with a couple of home runs and 5 RBIs, 5 runs scored, rather. The 1-0 now is popped up. Ronald Torres underneath this one, 2 away. We'll see what kind of hand Starlin Castro gets as he walks to the plate.
I would imagine it would be a good one, as he was a .315 hitter here at Yankee Stadium over the last 2 seasons, so very productive.
Of course, trades always, it's always like one guy's name is on the trade, right? So it was the Giancarlo Stanton trade, but lest we forget that Starlin Castro was part of that trade as well. A 4-time All-Star who takes strike 1. Coming off a homestand where he hit .292. .295 overall, as we are now a couple of weeks into the season. No balls and 2 strikes to Castro upstairs. A ball and 2 strikes. Along with Castro, youngster Jose Devers and Jorge Guzman, part of that trade for Giancarlo Stanton this past offseason. So Castro certainly happy to be back, I'm sure, after Todd noted the success that he had here in the Bronx.
Castro, lots of success in interleague play, .358 in his career.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Luis Severino sets the Marlins down a 1-2-3 in the first inning. We'll see Caleb Smith, and we'll also see Giancarlo Stanton when we come back to the Bronx. first, and now Caleb Smith will deal against the New York Yankees lineup. Brett Gardner out of that top spot, a team that a couple of weeks into the season is 5th in the American League in average, tied for 4th in the AL in home runs. But if you've read any of the headlines or the backs of the baseball cards, this team is going to be at or near the top at the end of the year in home runs. This is a powerful, powerful Yankee lineup.
You certainly would anticipate that. They've been good at scoring runs, though. 77 runs scored, 5.5 runs a game. But again, 7-7 through the first 14. The one thing they do, which is so Yankee-like, they do lead, and this is going to be key tonight. We talked about this in Caleb Smith's start in Philadelphia, where the walk started to pile up. For the Yankees, they're good at taking the walk. In fact, they lead the American League in walks.
Brett Gardner out to left field. It falls in front of Derek Dietrich. There's a leadoff single for the Yankee left fielder.
Caleb Smith right at him. Elevated fastball, 92 miles an hour at the hands, fights it off, able to dump it in left field. Brett Gardner, very good for the Yankees. Have that leadoff spot, 390 on-base percentage, just went up.
Caleb Smith, originally drafted by the Yankees in the 14th round in 2013, made his major league debut with the Yankees last July and was traded along with Garrett Cooper to the Marlins this past offseason.
Caleb Smith, fastball, slider, changeup. Fastball will sit in the 92 to 94 range. He's a fly ball pitcher by definition. Use that slider. It's his primary secondary pitch. Does have a good changeup.
Aaron Judge fouls that one off. Of course, last year, Judge, a unanimous American League Rookie of the Year. Also an All-Star and finished second in the MVP voting behind Jose Altuve. But a terrific rookie campaign for Aaron Judge after he came up toward the end of the 2016 season, struck out a ton. Certainly figured something out last year.
Well, this is a big moment in the ball game here in the first for Caleb Smith. Aaron Judge 5 for 9 in the early going against lefties. Those are big-time numbers. Got a riding 11-game hitting streak, longest this season by a Yankee. And Judge is doing it all right now. Most productive Yankee. RBI in 7 of 10 ball games.
Ball and a strike. Smith makes a move of his feet right there. 2 balls and a strike to Aaron Judge. As Brian Holiday behind the plate tonight. Some health updates along the way, as it sounds like JT Realmuto is very close. In fact, so close that he's actually here with the team. Took batting practice today, looked good. He's going to get evaluated and could be back as early as tomorrow.
Now the Yankees trying to find their rhythm. As we mentioned, 7-7 on the season, 3-3 here at Yankee Stadium. Last game was Friday, April 13th, a win in Detroit. Had the weekend off.
I mentioned JT Realmuto. This was him taking batting practice. And the reports were that he's felt good for a long time, like wanting to get back for a long time. Team obviously doesn't want to rush anything. He means so much to this team. He's played in so many games last few years. So to get him back and really keep him back was the whole mindset there. So again, as early as tomorrow for JT Realmuto. Ball 4 to Judge. And there will be 2 on and nobody out for Giancarlo Stanton. Oh for 5 on Friday, the last night that the Yankees played, but 6 for 17 on the road trip. And obviously, that's just the snapshot of where Giancarlo Stanton is right now. Those numbers right there are the ones everybody's familiar with. The big home run totals with the Marlins for so many years.
Well, Stanton has figured out the road. Had a real nice series in Boston. His numbers are very, very good on the road. Yankee Stadium, not so much. 3 for 28 here in the early going. That's 107 batting average. Good breaking ball by Caleb Smith. Let's take another look. Just above the knees and then below the knees. You see Stanton out on his front foot. Think back to great success he had on the 2 spot when he really got rolling last year, staying back on everything. I think that's one dynamic that Stanton's probably dealing with a little bit this year. Of course, Aaron Judge hitting out of the 2 spot. No complaints there. He's hit there 14 games this season, and he continues to produce. But for Stanton, who's now the new number 3 hitter, remember, as the number 2 hitter last year for the Marlins, 47 home runs and 97 RBIs. 110 games out of the 2 spot in the lineup. He's the Yankees' new number 3.
Now, of course, I know exactly what you're saying, but at some point, you could bet, you never would, but you could bet this guy 9th, he's going to put up big numbers.
Well, and right, and it certainly, I had a little conversation with him, just a short conversation during batting practice today. The smile was there. He's very confident that his game's going to come around here at Yankee Stadium. Again, he's had success this season. It just hasn't been quite as consistent.
That one is drilled down the left field line and hooking foul.
Yeah, that's the upper deck.
It's a long way out. But it's a strike. So after that loud foul ball, it'll be a 2-ball, 2-strike pitch from Caleb Smith. 3-2.
Two of Stanton's 3 home runs this season have come against left-handed pitching.
Try to keep a close eye there on Brett Gardner off of second base, who led off this inning with a bloop single in left field. Aaron Judge followed with a walk.
I'd be surprised if the Yankees would do any running here. Stanton, 25 strikeouts and 59 at-bats. Start the season.
Got a piece, and also got a piece of Holiday. Still 3-2.
Marlins starting defense is brought to you by Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center. Dietrich, Maben, Schuck gets the start in right field. Anderson, Rojas, Castro, and Bohr. Holiday behind the plate for Caleb Smith.
And back-to-back walks for Caleb Smith, and the bases are loaded here in the first.
Now, reminded of the last start, his only road start in Philadelphia. It was a cold and blustery day in Philly. 3 innings, 2 hits, 3 earned runs, 6 walks, 77 pitches for Caleb Smith. Now, he's been good here at Marlins Park, a couple of starts, but again, that road start, and it is blustery today and a little bit chilly. Temperature just above the 40-degree mark. It's Caleb's last start.
But once again, it doesn't get much easier with the bases loaded, and now Didi Gregorius, who takes a look at ball 1. For Caleb Smith now, this is his 4th first inning, and he has issued 6 walks, 6 hits, 3 earned runs. 7 walks, I'm sorry. 6 hits. So it's a matter of figuring out a way to settle in early. That one misses inside. 2 balls and no strikes.
Now Didi Gregorius, a hot hitter to start the season. 10 extra base hits. That leads Major League Baseball. 3 homers, 13 RBIs. He's doing a lot of things right. Certainly with the big guys in front of him.
We mentioned those extra base hits. He became the 5th Yankee since 1908. That's right, over a century to tally at least 10 extra base hits through the team's first 10 games of the season. He pops this one up on the infield. It's an infield fly rule. Holliday will put it away even though the out already officially recorded, and there's 1 down.
A huge out for Caleb Smith and the Marlins. Bases loaded. We talked about the dangerous Didi Gregorius on a 2-0 pitch, able to get a short pop-up to the infield. Things go the Marlins' way, that may turn into the pitch of the night right there.
But once again, as we have said countless times, and certainly will over the next 2 nights, it doesn't get any easier with the next hitter. As Gary Sanchez digs in. In there for a called strike.
Well, Sanchez does not have very good seasonal numbers, although he's been hot over his last 3 games, 5 for his last 14, all extra base hits. In fact, he doesn't have a single yet this year. All 7 hits have gone for extra bases for Gary Sanchez.
He, along with Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton, presented with their Silver Slugger Award before the game. A hot shot knocked down there by Rojas, and a big play to keep it on the infield. A run will score easily. Actually, I'm not sure if Judge would have scored anyway, but terrific effort by Rojas nonetheless. It's 1-0 Yankees.
Well, there's your single. He's going to pick up an RBI. On the hard hit ground ball in the hole, Rojas climbed up his arm after diving for it. As you mentioned, nice job keeping it on the infield. Gardner had to make sure that that ball was down, taking off for home. Yankees with the early lead.
But still, for Caleb Smith, 1 pitch away from limiting the damage if he can get a ground ball hit at somebody. Off the bat of Aaron Hicks, who fouls that first pitch off. Hicks coming off a game in which he had a 2-run inside the park home run in the 2nd inning, and then a solo home run in the 6th inning. This was Friday night. His first career inside the park home run, and first by a Yankee since Curtis Granderson in 2011. An offense like this, I think most of them go over the wall. Oh, 1 is outside.
Hicks just back from the disabled list, was activated on April 12th. He has been impressive in the pinstripes. Early on in his career, a lot of hype about what he would be as a Twin, never really materialized. Got to the Bronx and things have taken a turn for the better. Starting center fielder on a team with high expectations.
John Ryan Murphy going from the Yankees to the Minnesota Twins in that deal, and brought over to the Bronx to play somewhere, right? They didn't know if it was going to be center field, left field, right field, 4th outfielder, whatever, but Jacoby Ellsbury just can't seem to stay healthy. He's on the disabled list right now. So it is the everyday job for Hicks, who pops this one up. Anderson gives way to Rojas, and Rojas drifts into shallow left for out number 2.
A couple of pop-ups have limited the damage. Another big pitch. Smith. I mentioned Caleb Smith traditionally gets a lot of his outs in the air, 2 of them this inning, both in the air.
So now it's Tyler Austin, who is currently appealing a 5-game suspension for his role in that brawl in Boston last week. Beanball incident that they had, and appealing the suspension. So clearly play through that. It could be good news for the Yankees, as against lefties in his career, he's 17 for 49. It's a shade under 350 with 4 homers and 13 RBIs.
He's currently riding a 4-game hitting streak. He's been swinging a hot bat. It's a big spot in the ball game here in the first.
Caleb Smith working in this inning, already 26 pitches. He went 5 1/3 in his first outing of the season against the Cubs, 5 innings in his last outing against the Mets, both at home, and then his only road start sandwiched in the middle in Philadelphia, 3 innings. A called strike to Austin. Judge at third, Stanton at second, and Sanchez at first. The 1-2 pitch is upstairs. It's also the first interleague matchup in Caleb Smith's short career, and again facing the team in which he made his major league debut with last year. 2-2 is fouled off down the third baseline.
Nice job changing speeds by Caleb Smith, working down the bottom of the strike zone, elevated with fastballs early to start. See if he climbs the ladder once again.
Smith came into this game having gotten 40 outs this year, 13 1/3 innings pitched, 19 of them by way of the K.
And this is what the Marlins, Don Mattingly and the coaching staff love about Caleb Smith. When he's on and in the zone, he's got good enough stuff to get big league hitters out. But when he is up, much like that last pitch, which are easy takes for hitters, and he can frustrate you a little bit. You see the breakdown. 31 pitches, 15 balls, 16 strikes. And again, not hit hard in this inning. I mean, the hardest hit ball was the Stanton foul ball down the left field line. Much of this trouble attributed to the walks.
Yep.
Bases loaded. Runners will be off with the pitch.
A big pitch early for Caleb Smith to Tyler Austin. Fouls it straight back. Austin getting a little bit more playing time as Greg Bird works his way back from yet another foot/ankle injury. Missed most of last year, did Bird. Came into spring training feeling good, and then all of a sudden a bone spur issue popped up, and Bird went under the knife again. So Austin getting a chunk of the playing time early on for the Yankees over at first.
This is a busy first inning. I mentioned the walks already. The Yankees capable of putting together good quality at bats, and you've seen it here in the first inning. Got an 806 OPS as a team against lefties this season. It's 5th best in Major League Baseball. Had success against the lefties.
tried to catch. Stanton napping. A bloop single, 2 walks, an infield fly, an infield single for Gary Sanchez, and then another pop-up. And now the 3-2 pitch. Walks in the second run of the inning. Third walk issued by Caleb Smith.
Caleb Smith rolled the dice. Believed that he'd throw a secondary pitch, his changeup, for a strike on the 3-2 pitch. He missed at the bottom of the zone. That's going to be the Yankees' second run of the night. Third walk in this inning. That at times has been the problem that Caleb Smith deals with. When he misses big time out of the strike zone. Again, easy takes for a big league hitter. These are not borderline pitches. These are balls that are down or up or off the outside corner. And again, that's how sometimes you see these counts kind of, the hitters are getting back into the counts. These aren't borderline pitches where the hitter's necessarily fouling off tough pitches. He's missing badly at times.
So Juan Nieves back to the dugout, and already in this inning, the Yankees have forced the Marlins to use 2 of their mound visits. So the Marlins already down to 4, but trying to keep this game at an arm's reach here as a dribbler up the first base line hooks foul, and Miguel Andujar will head back to home plate. So with 34 pitches in this first inning, Tyler Cloyd has begun throwing for the Marlins in their bullpen. Prior to yesterday's outing by Jose Urena, went 5 innings and gave up 4 runs. It was 3 consecutive quality starts for the Marlins. Kind of gave their bullpen a little bit of a break. A bullpen that in the first week and a half of the season had been worked. I don't want to say overworked because they spread the innings around, but just in terms of the entire collective group, they were up there in terms of innings pitched out of that pen. 0-2 now to Andujar.
Andujar willing to swing the bat, chased a couple of pitches outside the zone. This young man, 156 on the season. Entered 2018, the Yankees' number 5 prospect. Getting an opportunity early in April.
Oh-2 from Smith is upstairs, a ball and 2 strikes.
Caleb Smith continues to try to work up and down that strike zone. Again, elevated fastball, trying to get the swing and miss a little bit too high. That slider a little too low. Well, he does a nice job keeping it in front.
You noted the Yankees' patience. Part of that is that some of these pitches haven't been all that close, but already the 38th pitch of the outing for Caleb Smith, and once again, a count runs full. Once again, with 2 outs, the runners will get a head start. Not the breakdown of balls and strikes that Caleb Smith was looking for. A 1-to-1 ball strike ratio. Stanton at third, Sanchez at second, and Austin at first. And Andujar pops this one up down the right side, and that will reach the seats.
You run across these situations every so often. As the runner at third base, when you're in motion with the bases loaded and 2 outs, you've got to be so careful. You're coming down the line and you've got a hitter who's anticipating a swing. It's a 3-2 pitch and you're only running towards that contact. You know what I mean? You're gonna watch him. He's gonna probably get out of the way more towards the third base coach.
Yeah, Stanton's kind of hanging out right over there by Phil
Right,
Nevin.
but you watch his route. He's going to actually run a little bit towards Phil Nevin over there just to, keep himself on the foul side of the line. It's always such an interesting dynamic for me to be running towards this, a swinging, a man holding a bat in his hand, getting ready to swing a fastball.
Again, the 3-2 pitch, and again, it is fouled off. Well, these are those situations where these young pitchers, whether it's Smith tonight or anyone else in this, generally speaking, young Marlins rotation, this is it right here. This is how can you put hitters away when you've got them. It was 0-2 to Andujar, who has now worked a 9-pitch at bat. Skies this one out to right center field. Back goes Shuck in front of the track to put that one away for out number 3. Well, all in all, 2 runs come across after they had the bases loaded and nobody out. We'll see Justin Bour when we come back to the Bronx. Up 2-0 after a lengthy first inning, but all intents and purposes, minimal damage done. Again, bases loaded and nobody out. Yankees push across 2. So plenty of time left for the Marlins, and they turn to Justin Bour to lead things off, and he takes ball 1. After Bour, it's Brian Anderson and Tomas Tellez. And Justin Bour is coming off a homestand in which he cracked all 4 of the home runs you saw on your screen. Justin Bour before the game, even though it's been a couple of weeks, Giancarlo Stanton's still stretching with the boys.
Well, he wanted to get down and talk to Justin Bour, and he didn't want, Justin was in the middle of his stretch, so he's not going to talk down to him. He's going to get down to his level. All right. See, that's Stanton. That's certainly exploring something. Take another look. Yeah, look at JB getting his, his leg stretches in, and so Stanton's like, I got to go meet you at your level, right? This is a pretty good at bat just to start the second inning by Bour. Watched obviously the 6 for 16, the 4 homers, 8 RBIs over last few ball games. He is locked in.
And he draws the walk to lead off the top of the second inning. Well, now it's Brian Anderson.
Anderson picked up an RBI yesterday, his 10th on the season.
And all those RBIs, you look at this every night, and here we are a couple of weeks in, and I sound like a broken record, but he is leading all big league rookies in hits, in walks, in on-base percentage, and he's tied for first in runs scored. You know, there was a lot of talk early. Again, nobody's handing out these awards right now, right? We all get that. Yeah. Whoever wins Rookie of the Year might not even be called up yet.
14 games in.
That's right. But the bottom line is it's a great start for Brian Anderson, and he is certainly riding the wave.
He's been productive. He's been consistent. It has to do with the approach. Real good test tonight, Severino. I'm not talking about you, Paul.
No. The talented one out there.
You don't throw 97, and you definitely do not have that slider.
I do not. No. Not in anywhere near as good a shape
well,
either.
And that's the challenge, is that you've got to defend the strike zone against one and, do your best to sit on the other. The other happens to be, 96, 97, 98 mile an hour, one of the better four-seam fastballs in the game to go along with a tremendous slider. There it is again.
I know you're doing the homework, and we were talking about it before. Just in looking at the scouting reports.
It's not fair.
Like, how does anyone get a hit off of this man?
I was struggling to bring it to the airwaves just to kind of verbalize, so fans understand. Of course, in the National League, the Marlins, we don't, you don't see Luis Severino very often. But, you can go across your scouting reports as you can watch video and everything that goes into it. And you look at the year that he had last year. Oh.
He went around, says first base umpire Nick Lentz.
Try again. Severino gets him on the third slider. Really, that's just it. Yeah, I mean, how he grades out across the board with the fastball, the slider, and even the changeup is at the top of the heap. You compare him to just about any top right-hander in the game. All he's lacking is extended experience.
Tomas Tilley is the DH tonight for the Marlins. Takes a look at strike one. One for four on the homestand. 1 for 1 in a pinch hit roll yesterday. Going to serve the ball out toward left field. But yeah, for Severino, I mentioned it before, third in the American League Cy Young vote, behind the guy who obviously won, Corey Kluber, and a guy who very easily could have won, Chris Sale. And that's kind of the stratosphere that the Yankees hope Luis Severino ends up in for the long haul.
He's 24 years old,
yeah.
And he's done this already. I mean, you look at a record like this, single season strikeout record holders for the Yankees. He's got 230. That puts him in third place. He's 24. He does this for, I don't know, 7-8 years. It's going to be a nice run.
Back-to-back strikeouts. And 2 away here in the second. Come out to the ballpark and celebrate Puerto Rican heritage on Saturday, April 28th, when the Marlins take on the Rockies. Purchase a bundled ticket package and receive an exclusive Puerto Rican Heritage Night jersey. To join the festivities, purchase your tickets today at marlins.com/Puerto Rico. Now it's Cameron Maybin. Called strike one. He's got a hit in 6 of his last 7 games against the New York Yankees. He comes in just 1 for 13 on the homestand and quickly down in the count, 0-2.
The first time through, the Marlins have had a difficult time laying off the slider, checking their swing. Part of that is because of the 97 mile an hour fastball Severino possesses.
Once again they check, and Mr. Lentz says no swing. One hit and 6 at-bats for Cameron Maybin against Luis Severino, and it was a big one, a solo home run. Got a piece of that one to stay alive, still 2-2.
That's the changeup. Nice job. As I mentioned, that high velocity that as a hitter you have to prepare yourself for. Basically every pitch he throws, you have to be on alert. That changeup, even out in front, but gets a piece. Gets a piece of Gary Sanchez.
Home plate umpire Lance Barrett accompanying Gary Sanchez out to the mound, and I want to get a check and see whether or not that was a visit or not. This is what we're trying to be on top of here in 2018. Looks like not an official mound visit for those scoring at home.
Just had to walk it off.
Mutual respect. 3 strikeouts in the inning and 4 in the game for Severino. We go to the bottom of the second here in the Bronx. Produced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. Paul Severino, Todd Hollinsworth back with you as we go to the bottom of the second inning. Caleb Smith delivers strike 1 to Ronald Torreyes, the number 9 hitter in the Yankee order. 8 batters came to the plate in the first, 2 scored, but I think, again, you don't want anybody to score. I mean, we get that, but given the fact that it was bases loaded, nobody out, threw a lot of pitches, but how would you rate that first inning, kind of wiggling around?
Could have been a lot worse. I mean, of course, you get to the efficiency for Caleb Smith and where this goes from here. He's got to keep this a low-scoring ball game. Severino on the mound for the Yankees, that's pretty simple. And again, it's in some ways the Marlins' way right now. Their offense has struggled. They have not been very consistent in scoring runs. They're certainly looking for some help. Some guys coming back off the disabled list, and certainly things are going to get better. But of late, they've struggled to score a few runs. In that case, you got to pitch to that.
There is the first strikeout of the night for Caleb Smith. Nice bounce back after that first inning.
Right after him, no wasting time. See a fastball, good fastball on the outer third, thigh high. It's it by Torreyes.
And now back to the top of the lineup for Brett Gardner, who singled and scored back in the first inning. With that base hit, has now reached base in 12 of 14 games this season.
It's the 11th season with the Yankees for Brett Gardner. Time flies, doesn't it?
The elder statesman of this group now, yeah.
34 years old, right?
Gardner's been here a while. Back in February of 2014, signed an extension with him, 4 years, $52 million, and has a club option for next year. And while he does certainly possess some power, he was, what, a 2020 guy last year, kind of the prototypical see a lot of pitches, get on base, use your speed, kind of leadoff guy.
Well, and I think for Gardner in such a pivotal year, you talked about his option and where he's at in his career, maybe factoring in some age. He's in a great. You add Stanton to this lineup, and he's sitting in front of two of the best power hitters in the game of baseball right now. You'd think that Brett Gardner would back into 100 runs scored even with a down year,
right,
offensively.
Got a piece, but right into the glove of Holiday, and there are 2 outs.
Well, renewed aggressiveness from Caleb Smith inside the strike zone, getting right after it. We spoke to that inefficiency in the first. He's been quite efficient here in the second. Right after Torres and Gardner. That's the test that second time through as you get Judge now in the 2 spot.
Well, I understand that it's early, but he's hitting .340, Aaron Judge. And I think that, we talked about earlier when he came up in 16, there were so many strikeouts in roughly half of his plate appearances in that, half year before his Rookie of the Year campaign. But last year, the adjustments that he made was that he will work the walk, work the count as he worked one in the first inning, but also not be afraid to kind of go the other way.
Well, and Stanton probably helps with some of that, hitting in the 3rd spot in the lineup. It's just a whole new dynamic. I mean, you look at his numbers right now. He's got 11-game hitting streak. He's 16 for 41. Now think about that. I mean, 11-game hitting streak, 16 hits. That's not a huge number, but then you follow it down the line. 12 walks during the 11-game hitting streak. I mean, that explains things. He's getting on base twice a game.
And this one is driven out to right center field and deep and gone. A solo home run for Giancarlo, for Aaron Judge. Oh, they look alike. Aaron Judge to right center field. And it's 3-0 Yankees.
Power, extension to all fields. Stays through the ball as well as any right-handed hitter. Uses the dimensions here at Yankee Stadium to his advantage. This is a pretty good example of what he does well. Short, quick, right through the baseball. Long home run to right. As the front foot comes down, and then you get the power and the extension. He is a big man. Even miss hits go a long way. This was not a miss hit. Well struck.
All right, folks, this is Giancarlo Stanton. Sources tell me. Quickly 0-2.
Stanton worked the walk his first time up.
So for Aaron Judge, that was his 60th career home run in his 194th game. And now the fastest to ever get to that mark, ahead of Mark McGwire. But it's what he did a lot last year.
Well, if last year was his coming out party, you've got to believe it's only going to get better. You mentioned a lot of the key ingredients, plate discipline and the likes. I mean, if you add that all into it, what you're seeing right now with Stanton hitting behind him, with Sanchez back there, Gregorius, I mean, he is going to get some things done this year. I mean, 12-game hitting streak. Scored at least 1 run in 6 straight, 9 of 10. RBI in 8 of 11.
And Stanton strikes out for out number 3. 3 strikeouts in the inning for Caleb Smith, but he gives up the home run to Aaron Judge. And it is 3-0 Yankees. solo home run from Aaron Judge, so now a little bit more of a cushion for Luis Severino. He'll face 8, 9, and 1 in the Marlins lineup. J.B. Shuck, Brian Holliday, and Derek Dietrich. Shuck takes strike one. Set a career high with 4 hits on Friday night. Tied the record for most hits in a Marlins debut. The same day he was called up from AAA New Orleans. Led off in yesterday's ball game. Back in the lineup tonight out in right field. And hitting in the number 8 spot for Don Mattingly's Marlins.
Capitalizing on opportunity. 5 for his first 10. Scored 3 runs.
Line off the hands, and that will hang up for Judge. Let's go downstairs to Jessica Blaylock.
Hey, Paul, the Yankees organization will always have a special place in the heart of manager Don Mattingly. Take a look at some of his accomplishments during his 14 seasons with the Yankees. A 6-time All-Star, batting title, MVP, 3 Silver Sluggers, 9 Gold Gloves awards. I talked to Mattingly earlier today about facing his former team, if that's difficult for him. He says, no, it's really not. He's already come here once as a manager with LA. Now he just wants to get a win in whatever uniform he is wearing, and that is currently one that belongs to the Miami Marlins. Guys.
That's right, Jessica. Thanks so much. Yeah, of course, it's one of those storylines. Of course, the Marlins and Stanton being one of them, and of course, Derek Jeter, the CEO of the Marlins. That's another one. But Don Mattingly, again, back here in the Bronx, where he played his entire career, and knowing how special that is to be able to play really a borderline Hall of Fame career, all with one team, and so much success. I mean, you look around this ballpark and you can not go too far without seeing how many championships the Yankees have won. But think that Don Mattingly, for as great as he was in his career, didn't make it to the postseason until 1995, his last year here in the Bronx. Brian Holliday out to right field. And Aaron Judge puts it away, 2 down.
Hey, Marlins fans, now you can stream games live on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go, presented by T-Mobile. Download the app, take Fox Sports Florida and Marlins baseball wherever you go. Don Mattingly, 1,785 games with the Yankees, career .307 hitter. 222 homers, 1,099 RBIs. Just huge numbers. I mean, there's just...
And the defense.
You're right. And the defense, Gold Glove defense.
And I remember, watching the game back in the day when he hit the home run in the 95 Division Series. Gary Thorne's call, hang on to the roof. I mean, that was, 14 years coming.
Everybody, and I remember this as a child. I mean, as a kid, I guess, was pulling for Don Mattingly. I mean, it was more than, it wasn't about teams. It was really the individual story. At least for me, it was. Growing up watching Don Mattingly, one of the best players I saw play as a child, and get to watch him, as you mentioned, finally in the postseason. I found myself just pulling for greatness for him in the postseason.
A ball and 2 strikes to Derek Dietrich, who steps out. He flew out to Brett Gardner out in left field in the first inning. Taps one to Austin, who will get there before Dietrich. 3 up and 3 down for the Marlins here in the third. 3-0, Yankees on top. as Caleb Smith kind of weathered the storm of that first inning a little bit, gave up a couple of runs. Last inning gave up the home run to Aaron Judge. And now we'll face 4, 5, and 6 for the Yankees. Didi Gregorius, Gary Sanchez, and Aaron Hicks. Gregorius fouls the first pitch back. He popped up an infield fly rule out back in the first inning. He's already got 3 home runs and 13 RBIs. And I know the way roster construction is nowadays, that not everybody's quote-unquote cleanup hitter or most powerful hitter always hits fourth. But it's saying something when Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Gary Sanchez are in this lineup, and Didi Gregorius is hitting fourth.
It's because he's the smallest guy of the group. And Didi's a pretty good-sized guy, but, I mean, you're talking about some big dudes. That's it. I mean, I was thinking about this during batting practice today down on the field watching the Yankees take their swings. I'm like, this young man has really turned it on since coming over from the Diamondbacks. He's really upped his game and has really become a star. And you're right. I mean, but you look at the guys that sit around him in the lineup, and you're like, these guys are beasts. And this is the 4-hitter.
But he's cashed in. I know that, again, the roster is a little bit different this year than it was last year with the addition of that man right there, Giancarlo Stanton. But last year, Didi set a franchise record for home runs by a shortstop with 25. He passed Derek Jeter's mark of 24. Yeah, and oh, by the way, he had to fill Derek Jeter's shoes. I mean, that is not an easy thing to do. It's like whoever was going to take over for Mariano Rivera. I mean, what those guys did in their time here made it very difficult for whoever was going to take over. But Didi has settled in very nicely here in the Bronx. Didi fights that one off. 42 pitches in the first inning for Caleb Smith, 19 pitches in the second inning. But again, he did strike out 3 guys. Judge homered, but 3 strikeouts for Smith in that second. 3-2 to Gregorius. Misses, and it's the 4th walk of the night for Caleb Smith.
Well, for Didi Gregorius, another area of improvement here in the early going in 2018. That's the other thing that stands out. Get this ball, and you don't see this often. I mean, with any type of hitter. He's got 12 walks on the season, only 3 strikeouts. I mean, those are some crazy percentages. His career walk rate is 4.4. He's got it up to over 18 this season.
Now Gary Sanchez, who had an infield single that drove in a run back in the first. This one out to shallow center field. Cameron Maben can't find it, and that one's going to fall in. Didi moves up to second base.
Now Maben was unable to pick up the baseball at any time. So, you know, you see how this ultimately ends up going. Starling Castro's kind of drifting out there. Maben's hoping to find it. And Dietrich's coming in, you know, flying. Really, this is a Maben fly ball, but a high sky right now. The clouds, the white clouds that are up there. I actually stuck my head out and looked up myself. I just see where that one was going. Started watching Maben and realized he had no idea where it was at.
Well, Castro was drifting out there. Maybe early thought he had a chance.
Well, and again, that's not even shallow center field. It's even farther out than where really we would define a second baseman going. Dietrich playing over in the corner. Cameron Maben was left on his own. It's a helpless feeling for an outfielder. You know, he threw the panic up too early, and that's where, first couple of steps in, his hands went out. He really never saw it off the bat. And, you kind of give that panic to your left and right fielder. Your right fielder's obviously not going to do much on that one, but, I don't see anything. I've got no idea even where to run, because if you don't see it off the bat, you just don't have an idea. You're playing off of sound and really the movement on the field around you. And watching Maben, no shot.
1-0 to Aaron Hicks is in there for a called strike. that's got the bad feeling A is not finding it off the bat. The bad feeling B is finding it in the last 35 feet and knowing you've got no chance.
As an outfielder who's been in this position before, Paul, when you're in a stadium like this and you've got a lot of people and you've got this feeling like, and I don't mean this really to be funny, but it is, I don't worry about it. You feel like you're the only person in the building that doesn't see the baseball. Everybody else knows exactly where it is, where it's coming down, and where you're supposed to be, and you're like, I don't get it. And that's what ends up happening. And the thing about Yankee Stadium, even old Yankee Stadium was like this. You have big gaps, especially that left center field gap. So Dietrich is playing a little bit farther over than where he would traditionally be, even when they play straight up. So Maven, in some regards, was on his own.
Well, now Smith has to bail out the defense. 1-2 to Hicks. This one toward left center field, and it's going to get down and roll to the gap and all the way to the wall. Didi is in. Gary Sanchez is in. It's a 2-run double for Aaron Hicks, and the Yankees have opened up a 5-0 lead.
The aforementioned gap. Hicks is going to find it. Elevated fastball up out over the plate. Hicks right on it, drives it into that left center field gap. No man's land as Dietrich pursues it to the wall. He knows off the bat this could be a triple. He holds up around second base, stumbled a little bit. Beating Gregorius and Gary Sanchez score easily.
First double for Hicks, who again missed some time with an intercostal injury the first 10 or so games of the season. Tyler Austin with a big swing and a miss, and it's 0-1. Austin walked with the bases loaded back in the 2-run first inning. Finds the outside edge, 0-2. And once again, Cloyd up for the Marlins. .76 pitches to this point for Caleb Smith. To Anderson at third. And look back, Hicks, and throws out Austin for the first out.
This season, the Marlins are collaborating with local lifestyle brand Life for an exclusive t-shirt collection. During select games, you'll be able to get a Marlins-inspired Life brand t-shirt with a special bundled ticket to the game. For games and dates and to purchase your collection of 4, visit marlins.com/offer.
In steps Miguel Andujar, who flew out to J.B. Shuck to end the first inning. Swings at the first pitch and fouls it straight back, 0-1. Andujar has seen a little bit of time at third base this year. Last year, only had 7 at-bats in the Yankees in very limited big league time, but got hits in 4 of those at-bats, 2 doubles and 4 RBIs. Flashes of some of the brilliance that the Yankees and some of the different scouting publications had of this young man, as he was tabbed as Baseball America's #5 prospect in the Yankee system, number 59 overall entering this year. And obviously it's a very strong farm system for the New York Yankees.
We got Gleyber Torres, their #1 prospect, hitting near 400 right now in AAA. Abundance of riches in the minor league system for the Yankees.
Two balls and 2 strikes.
And that is in a lot of ways where the Marlins are trying to get. Rebuilding the minor league system, creating depth and internal competition. The younger players, the younger prospects, pushing the major leaguers.
layering the talent.
Correct. Yep.
And what's amazing is the Yankees were able to do that in a very short amount of time. They made a few trades. Aroldis Chapman to Chicago, Andrew Miller to Cleveland were the two headliners.
Well, they've traded. Yeah, the last two times that the Yankees done it, they've actually traded and contended at the same time.
Yeah.
Not sure I give them credit for trying to contend both times. Maybe it just went that way. I think the first time was a couple seasons ago where everybody thought, oh yeah, this is the right thing for the Yankees to do. And oh, by the way, they're starting to play some of their best baseball this season.
Well, that was the thing, and obviously I used to work at MLB Network before this. There's a lot of Mets fans there that I would kind of jab every once in a while and say, well, that was the very painful rebuild for the Yankees. It took all of 6 weeks. That one's upstairs to Andujar. 5th walk for Caleb Smith. And that might be his last, as Don Mattingly is going to come out. He motions to the bullpen. And with 2 on and 1 out, 2 runs home already here in the 3rd. Caleb Smith's night is going to be done. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by the Florida Lottery. Brought to you by the Florida Lottery. It's good to have options. That's why the Florida Lottery has over 70 unique scratch-off games. So add a little play to your day with these new games. The Florida Lottery, it's your ticket. Claim it. Must be 18 or older to play. Play responsibly. The day is done for Caleb Smith. Had a tough time finding the strike zone in this one. They gave up 5 hits, 5 runs, and 5 walks. So Don Mattingly goes to the bullpen and brings in Tyler Cloyd. Signed as a minor league free agent in early January this year. Pitching in his 2nd game with the Marlins. Pitched the other night against the New York Mets, a clean inning in relief.
Yeah, had his contract selected from AAA. Orleans on April 8th. He's been up here for just a little over a week.
Now the key word for him is going to be innings and collecting some outs and try to limiting damage here in this 3rd inning. Ronald Torreyes takes a look at ball 1. Torreyes struck out back in the 2nd inning. One of the 3 strikeouts for Caleb Smith. Ground ball to Rojas. He'll take it himself at 2nd, throw to 1st for the final outs of this 3rd inning. So Cloyd comes in, gets the ground ball, and the Yankees score a couple more. Luis Severino has a 5-0 lead to work with as we go to the top of the fourth inning. Miguel Rojas, Starlin Castro, and Justin Bohr as the Marlins have a little work to do. Yankees pushed across 2 runs in the first, a home run from Aaron Judge in the second, and 2 more in the bottom of the third inning. Yankees in control early in this short 2-game series. These 2 teams will see each other again later on in the season as the Yankees come to Miami for a couple of games in late August. Rojas popped up in the first inning, 0 for 1 so far here tonight.
Looking for better results this second time through. Some adjustments by the Marlins hitters up against Severino. 4 strikeouts first time through. No walks. 1 walk. Justin Bohr had a very nice at bat. Not a whole lot going on for the Marlins. Not too many hard hit balls.
Well, one thing, and again, we've talked about Luis Severino and what he means to this New York Yankees starting rotation, as they certainly hope to right the ship. They're a 500 team right now, but we're only a couple of weeks into the season. I don't know if anybody's really panicking just yet, but that sometimes the ace has to be something of a stopper, and his numbers after Yankee losses are exactly what you want from an ace.
Last year he did it 6 times after his own loss, 3-0 with a 1.12 ERA.
3-2 to Rojas, who loops one into right field, and the hit streak continues, taking a big turn around first. The throw from Judge is not in time. It's a leadoff double for Miguel Rojas, who extends his hit streak up to a career best 9 games.
What a nice approach. We continue to rave about the work that he has done behind the scenes. This elevated fastball up at the letters. And that's not a pitcher looking to pull, just stay inside of it. Shoots it into the right field corner. Hustling out of the box all the way. Judge had to chase it a little bit farther than he probably thought. Strong throw into second base, but Rojas wants to beat it.
Here's Starlin Castro with a runner in scoring position. Fouls that one off. Nice grab by Justin Bohr. Well, Starlin Castro takes on Luis Severino today, and that is presented by AARP here at Yankee Stadium. The number's a .315 average in 137 games over the course of a couple of seasons as a Yankee. 25 home runs and 84 RBIs.
Starlin very happy to be back. Lots of success over his 2 seasons here, and certainly was given a warm welcome his first time up. I'm sure that meant a lot to him. His blossoming career, he's starting to accumulate some big-time numbers. But you certainly, as a player, love to feel appreciated, your efforts appreciated, no matter where you play. The Chicago Cubs for Starlin Castro, or the Yankees. You get a cheer like that, your first at bat, you know you did things right. He definitely did.
Sitting on 99 career home runs. Speaking of those big numbers, wants to round that off, I'm sure. Marlins might just take a hit right here. That one's in the dirt. And hits in April, something that Starlin Castro has done plenty of. A career .320 hitter in April with 18 home runs and 95 RBIs. The highest career average by any month in his career. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Starlin Castro to right center field. Judge moves over and puts that one away. A strong throw will keep Rojas at second. 1 away here in the 4th. Here is a message brought to you by FPL.
At FPL, we're using technology to help us keep reliability high and bills low. That's how we're changing the current.
A leadoff 2-base hit for Miguel Rojas, and then that line drive out brings up Justin Bohr, who worked a walk back in inning number 2. Bohr got the day off yesterday. Don Mattingly just wanted to get him off his feet for a little bit. Back in the lineup today. He's been swinging a hot bat. 4 home runs on the homestand after taking a little while to get going, at least on the power side of things. But we saw a week or so ago in Philadelphia starting to use the entire field to go the other way, hit against the shift. As he goes the other way right here, sending Gardner back to the track. He'll make the catch. Rojas tags from second, and he'll advance to third.
Part of what Justin Bohr has done so well when picking out his pitch, he's hitting it hard and putting it in play. A deep drive to left. The best contact for the Marlins tonight.
Brian Anderson struck out, one of 4 strikeout victims tonight for Luis Severino.
Anderson dealt with a plethora of sliders from Severino.
Folks, don't take this the wrong way. I'm not trying to make any excuses for the Marlins. But if you think of the pitchers that they have faced so far this season,
wow.
I mean, it's
wow is what it is.
Yeah, I don't know that I don't have a big vocabulary to really put it any other way.
I was pondering this the other night, and it was really saying it's like every start, right? I mean, it's like, you know, even this situation here, which was in some ways set up by the fact the Yankees didn't play this weekend.
Correct.
You know, so Severino was supposed to pitch, I believe, on Saturday, and you know, maybe you would have caught a break and, you know, wouldn't have to face the guy that finished third in the Cy Young voting from 2017. What ends up happening is they get rained out twice, freezing rain, by the way. Where were they? In Detroit? Is that what
they were in Detroit?
Detroit, yeah. They show up here. Yeah, they haven't played. Took Saturday and Sunday off, and they moved Severino to Monday.
But you just think back. I mean, whether it was the Cubs series, they had Lester.
You saw 1, 2, 3, 4.
Darvish, Quintana. They saw Jake Arrieta. They've seen Chris Sale. Last week it was Syndergaard and DeGrom. Tyone, exactly. Severino strikes out Anderson. And we go to the bottom of the 4th inning. 5-0 Yankees. nothing to hide by the Cleveland Clinic. Stiff joints, aches, and pains. Trust Cleveland Clinic, Florida, the #1 orthopedic care in Florida. And by La Lechonera, the original mojo since 1970. Cool night in the Bronx, but always fun to check out this beautiful gem across Major League Baseball, no question about it. Even though it's not the old yard from across the street, they still did a wonderful job with this new one here. As Brett Gardner takes outside. Paul Severino, Todd Hollandsworth with you here in the Bronx. A short 2-game set, Marlins and Yankees. Brett Gardner, Aaron Judge, and Giancarlo Stanton due up against Tyler Cloyd, who came on to finish the 3rd inning for Caleb Smith, who worked 2 1/3. 5 hits, 5 runs, 5 walks, and 3 strikeouts.
Floyd did a nice job. 2 pitches, gets the ground ball double play.
And another ground ball here, Justin Bohr. Little step on the bag, 1 away. So again, just try to get some innings, just try to get some length from Tyler Cloyd.
You certainly would like to see that. You're going to see a 91-mile-an-hour fastball. You're going to see a cutter as well, a curveball, a changeup.
The home run for Judge back in the 2nd. Career home run number 60. He did that in just 197 games, passing Mark McGwire, who got to 60 in 202 games.
Well, even his setup tells you how locked in he is. You watch how he takes pitches right now, and well, you watch how he swings at pitches right now. My goodness. Short, compact for a big guy. Through the baseball, powered all fields.
Well, he's a guy, listen, he can hit it out of any ballpark. We get that. But the home run that he hit was not a miss hit, as you noted. But he's going to get a couple of extra that might just be kind of like fly balls out to right center field. That's just where the jet stream kind of has played in this ballpark. And for him, that's a good thing because, you know, he's got that kind of easy power that way that those balls just kind of get caught up in that wind. They're going to get out. But trust me, he's going to earn his fair share too. Let's put it that way.
Always jealous of guys like Judge and Stanton. It's, you know, it's like being 7'2" in the NBA.
Yeah, can't teach it.
No,
you cannot teach it.
You're born with it. You work at it. They certainly have worked hard at their games.
To center field in a few steps is Maben for the 2nd out. Hey, Marlins fans, be sure to tune in to Marlins Live, the pregame show before our next game, presented to you by your South Florida Honda dealers. Craig Minervini, Jeff Nelson in the studio. It's an email Twitter Tuesday from the Bronx. And Harlan Garcia against Masahiro Tanaka tomorrow night. Harlan Garcia coming off that stellar outing in his first big league start. 6 no-hit innings. As Tyler Cloyd hits Giancarlo Stanton. And now it's Didi Gregorius. Those two very good friends, of course, Justin Bohr and Giancarlo Stanton, exchanging pleasantries before the game. Now a simple greeting over there at first base for the 2nd time tonight. Gregorius popped up in the 1st, walked and scored in the 3rd. And And now Gregorius with a laser to right field. That one is gone. A 2-run home run for Didi. And the Yankees have opened up a 7-0 lead.
Power up and down this lineup, this Yankees lineup. Now 20 home runs on the season. We certainly expect that this will continue as the temperatures rise in the Northeast. Didi Gregorius, my goodness, this a laser off the facing of the second deck. It's got out in about a second and a half.
Sanchez looks at strike one. Well, Didi always plays with a smile, but I'm sure when you connect on a ball like that, and you really enjoy it. A no doubt line drive home run for Didi Gregorius, who stays hot on the young season. 411 feet and 109 miles an hour off the bat to give the Yankees a 7-0 lead.
Well, we mentioned the 7-7 starts. You know, people here in the Bronx are very well aware of the start the Red Sox have gotten off to. Red Sox now 13-2 on the season, 5.5 games ahead of the Yankees. So mid-April, say what you want, but they're expecting this team to crank it up and get going. It's a 10-game homestand. This is game number 1, so this is probably where they're expecting some of that ground to be made up.
Yeah, Boone, a first-year manager, and looking up in the standings at Alex Cora, a first-year manager. Look on the other side of the standings in the National League, Mickey Callaway, a first-year manager, and between Cora and Callaway, those guys are off to amazing starts right now. Those are just fantastic. Oh, don't shortchange Dave Martinez either. The Nationals are rocking and rolling. I think Bryce Harper hit another home run tonight. I think mainly because it's a day that ends in Y. I know that, but it seems like he does it every single day. And now Sanchez down the left field line. Dietrich looking. And that will reach the seats. There's Aaron Boone in his first year as a Yankee manager. And again, we can get into this when there aren't 2 strikes and 2 outs in an inning, but you just wonder the pressure that A, comes with being a Yankee manager, B, pressure that comes with the roster that he has inherited.
Don't screw it up.
Right, that's pretty much it. Just don't mess up the furniture.
A lot of this, you know, you got to believe a lot of it manages itself.
It's time for our Toyota Inside Look. Aaron Boone played 69 games with the Marlins and now managing the New York Yankees. Got a lot of guys coming through the Marlins, wearing a Marlins uniform, then going on to manage different places.
See Craig Counsell next.
That's right. That's right.
Doing a fine job in Milwaukee.
Marlins managers, Marlins on television.
It's Marlins all over Yankee Stadium tonight.
Every place. I'm sitting next to one.
Hey, man, we got good history here.
Right across the glass, there's another one.
Was I thinking I should have brought my championship ring?
There's Al.
Hi, Al.
Al with copious amounts of notes, if I know him, and I do.
That's right. Al won 97 World Series, 03 World Series. We're representing tonight. That's right.
I think you play for the Marlins. It's kind of like a
kind of like the Yankees.
It's the fast track to television is really what it is. You two guys, Millar, Floyd, Preston Wilson.
There you go.
Preston, Dempster, yeah. Our buddy Gabby Sanchez, as Gary Sanchez draws a walk here in the fourth.
Did you forget Dontrell?
I just didn't get there yet.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. I could use your help. Mike Lowell. How about Mike Lowell? Oh, Mikey.
I think you're onto something.
I think so. Now Aaron Hicks, who had a 2-run double back in the third inning. Yankees have scored in every inning in this ball game. They lead at 7-0.
Hicks, the switch hitter, is played to pull the right side of the diamond.
Couldn't hold up his swing, and that is strike one. Along with the 2-run double, also popped up to Miguel Rojas back in the first inning. Just off the edge, 2-1. Called strike two. Mentioned Hicks dealing with that intercostal strain earlier this year. Last year missed 2 months of the season with a right oblique strain and a left oblique strain. That's why I don't like obliques. I prefer love handles. Hicks strikes out, 7-0 Yankees. Most usually are. There's Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy Fallon's here, of Fever Pitch fame, among other things, I'm sure.
Right.
Big baseball fan.
Look how gracious he's been. We've been watching him for about 2 minutes, and honestly, I give him a lot of credit. He hasn't moved about 10 feet, and he's done nothing but snap pictures and do selfies with everybody.
I'm guessing he's on his way up to the booth right now to hang out with us.
That'd be cool.
It would be cool, exactly.
Slide over. Make some space.
That's right.
Sit right in the middle.
Tomas Tellez to lead things off and sends this one out to center field. Cameron Maben Check that. That was Aaron Hicks to make the catch. Whoopsie. Let's go downstairs to Jessica Blaylock.
Hey, Paul, Lewis Brinson not in the lineup tonight for the Marlins. He will also not be in the lineup tomorrow night. Don Mattingly wanting to get his young rookie outfielder a couple of days off, let him regroup mentally, let him focus on a few things in the batting cages. We can expect to see him back in the lineup on Thursday in Milwaukee. Guys.
Jessica, thanks. Of course, there's going to be ups and downs in any youngster's season. We all understand that. It just seems as though now is one of those down times. But the Marlins are letting him kind of work through this a little bit.
Now he's got to embrace these couple of days, get the swing right, get the confidence back, mix in an off day there, kind of slow the game down, and that's what happens for a young player. For Brinson, I'm not saying the game necessarily on defense. I thought he's done a fantastic job of separating the two. Defense has been really, really good. Just need to be out there taking extra fly balls. But what I'm getting at here is, when you go through this, I've been through it a million times. You get a couple days from your manager. Your manager's like, listen, I want you to not think about the game. I want you to relax. And also, you got to remember this: the DH is here, so he's not walking around thinking, oh, I'm going to. There's a big chance that he may pinch hit tonight. This is going to be a couple of days of working in the cage, trying to get that timing back, that confidence back, that swing back. Targeting Thursday. That would be my guess. Maybe he shows up in tomorrow's game if they need his glove for defensive purposes or something. But let him get right.
Maben down on strikes, not in love with the call, and that is the 6th strikeout for Luis Severino. 2 outs here in the 5th.
This slider felt elevated. Look how it backs up just a little bit. Kind of comes back around the top of the inside corner. Cameron giving up on it. I certainly know what he's talking about. He does not need any help. That's right. That's certainly what Maben feels like he got right there, was a little bit of help.
So now 2 down for J.B. Shuck, who flew out to Aaron Judge in right field back in the 3rd inning. And pops this one up left side, and it will just get over the dugout. 0-2. Severino has a strikeout in every inning, and he's got 2 in the 5th as J.B. Shuck is frozen. Back-to-back strikeouts for Severino. Yankees in front 7-0. Todd Hollinsworth, bottom third of the Yankees order up against Tyler Cloyd, who's on in relief of Caleb Smith, who worked the first 2 1/3 innings. It's Tyler Austin, Miguel Andujar, and Ronald Torreyes. 2 runs in the first inning for the Yankees. A home run for Aaron Judge in inning number 2. 2 more runs in the third, and a 2-run home run for Didi Gregorius in the fourth. Austin had an RBI in the first inning, a bases loaded walk, also grounded out to Brian Anderson at third in the third. Down the right field line, but that one will reach the seats. 0-2. Cloyd, a young man who had his career start with the Philadelphia Phillies, made his big league debut in 2012. He was actually called up during that Phillies series, but as we noted before, got his first work in 2018 against the New York Mets last week at home. Called on to be the long man here tonight. You know, as Brian Holliday knocked that ball down, I get back to the news that's kind of around the Marlins right now. An old face, but a new face kind of on our road trips here is JT Realmuto, who's worked his way back, and he went 3 for 3 the other night in a rehab assignment as Austin laces one down the left field line. That'll one-hop the wall. Extra bases for Austin to lead off the 5th.
Austin is going to pick on this mistake. You saw where Holliday set up and where this ball tails back to the middle of the plate. It's up at the thighs. Austin rips it into the left field corner. It's a stand-up double to start the 5th. In business, they've scored every inning of this ball game.
They have had the leadoff man on in 4 of the 5 innings as well, as that will bring up Miguel Andujar. Flew out and walked so far tonight. So to get back to what I was saying about JT Realmuto, again, on the trip, he's here. He took batting practice today. He had a couple of days on a rehab assignment with Jupiter. Home run in his first at-bat, 3 hits. We had the video the other night of a fan yelling, "Go back to Miami." He's not going to go back to Miami just yet. He's going to go to the Bronx first, but it sounds like he'll be back as early as tomorrow.
Well, it's good to see JT back. As we mentioned, this Marlins offense trying to get in gear right now, and JT a big part of what I believe they will do moving forward. Breakout season offensively last year, started to move the needle in the right direction as he's done every year of his big league career. More home runs, more RBIs. I think there's a great opportunity for him this year.
And Duhar, fair ball into the corner. That will score Austin. And Duhar replaces Austin at second base, back-to-back doubles. And it is 8-0 Yankees.
Back-to-back doubles gets the 8th run across, and the Yankees now have scored in all 5 innings of this ball game.
So Realmuto will be back soon. Martin Prado is working his way back as well to full health, as it were. 5 innings at third base today as Torreyes fouls it back. 5 innings at third base today and tomorrow at extended spring training for Martin Prado. Dan Straley's going to pitch at high A on Wednesday. Wei-Yin Chen's going to pitch 4 innings at high A tomorrow. So it seems as though guys are beginning to progress a little bit more here and there, and more reinforcements coming in. Over the head of Starlin Castro, a base hit for Torreyes, 1st and 3rd for the Yankees here in the 5th.
Well, Torreyes, the last Yankee to reach base tonight. Now he reaches now with a base hit to center field, 3 consecutive hits to start the inning. Short, compact swing. Stays through the ball, was not trying to pull that baseball. Reyes played in a career high 108 games last season, hit .292. He's coming off a pretty nice road trip. Now got a 5-game hitting streak. Lineup will flip over for Brett Gardner, an RBI situation here in the bottom of the 5th.
He singled and scored in that 2-run first inning, struck out in the second, and grounded out to Justin Bohr back in the 4th.
Well, a combination of all things offensive for the Yankees tonight. And we talked about it coming in. 5 of the 9 hits, extra base hits, 3 doubles, 2 home runs, 6 walks as well. So it is Yankee offense at its finest tonight.
Well, they were top 5 in average homers, runs, and walks. Those are the only ones I jotted down, at least.
Coming in.
Some other things, yeah, coming in. But what was fascinating is that before tonight, and obviously the numbers have changed now, before tonight, you pointed this out. Go ahead. I don't want to steal it from you. 7 and 7.
Oh,
the whole thing.
yeah, the 7s, right? Well, again, it's still pretty early. Of course, that was 77 runs scored, 77 runs allowed. Of course, they were dealing with some other issues. I mean, Aaron Boone had mentioned this, the consistency for which this Yankee team has played in the early going. We just thought it was a run of 7s, right? What was it, the 7 postponements or inclement weather or something else was part of this? And
they had everything
77
going.
Runs and
7 and
4
7.
and against,
Yeah.
7 and 7 record.
But they've totally upset the apple cart tonight, putting 8 runs on the board as Brett Gardner will draw the walk, and the bases are loaded for Aaron Judge.
Juan Nieves is going to pop out of the Marlins dugout for conversation. Floyd. And the one thing that really stands out, getting to the inconsistencies of this Yankees team in the early going, I mean, really even with the pitching. The pitching had pitched, obviously minus Severino tonight. He's been outstanding. 4.78 ERA, team ERA. That's 11th in the American League. They've had some bullpen issues. I'm not saying those things will not necessarily come up tonight, but they've had some issues with, Dylan Betances and Conley. They've had some struggles in that bullpen. Like the Pittsburgh Pirates the Marlins just saw. Of course, the defense is really the one that stood out. 14 errors coming into tonight's ball game for the Yankees team. Now, of course, they played 14 games. That's the last in the American League, and that is not Yankee-like.
But it is an offense that can certainly out-hit some of those mistakes, especially with a guy like Aaron Judge, who homered back in the second inning. He's up with the bases loaded here in the 5th, and he takes a called strike. It's time for the Florida Lottery in-game jackpot. It's a 12-game hit streak for Aaron Judge, and currently the longest in the American League. So those couple of days off didn't slow his bat down, not in the least bit. 1-1.
Floyd was able to get in on the hands of Judge last inning. Routine fly ball to center field.
Already a couple of runs scored tonight for Aaron Judge, along with the home run, walked and scored back in the 1st. Judge hitting .333 with runners in scoring position so far this season. Some haven't missed by much. 2-2 pitch is past the dive of Rojas. 1 run will score. Torreyes holds up at third. Another RBI for Judge. And the Yankees open up a 9-0 lead.
The Yankees continue to keep the line moving here in the 5th.
Geico presents this day in Marlins history. Giancarlo Stanton, 155th home run to pass Dan Uggla for the all-time home run record. And a guy who, you don't need me to tell you, has been so much in the Marlins organization. A fly ball right side. Bohr looks like he might have some room and is able to corral that one. And Torreyes thought about it, but he holds up and returns to third. You can see the flags up above the stadium. They are pretty stiff.
A couple of high pop-ups tonight off the Yankee bats. Justin Moore able to stay with this. Forced to throw to home.
Yeah, the wind is certainly blowing here in the Bronx. That first pitch, I'm looking here, was 15 miles an hour. It's got to be upwards of that now, if not more. Here's Didi Gregorius. Takes a called strike. Didi with a 2-run home run back in the 4th inning.
Didi, one of 5 Yankees to have a 2-homer game already this season.
They spread the wealth.
Yeah, they've got the power.
And for all the height and the power and all that stuff of the Judges and the Stantons, Didi, 11 extra base hits, 4 home runs, 6 doubles, 1 triple. That's the second most extra base hits to Ozzie Albies, who's got 14, playing with the Atlanta Braves. Off to a terrific start for Didi, who's able to check his swing on the high offering from Cloyd, and it's a ball and 2 strikes.
And that list of 5 doesn't include Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Tyler Austin, Didi Gregorius, Gary Sanchez, and Aaron Hicks. Did it on Friday. Didi's got an 8 RBI game already this season.
Well, much like we talked about all the offensive accolades of Don Mattingly, and you always say, oh yeah, and the defense is pretty good. You say the same thing about Didi Gregorius. I know that there are other very good defensive shortstops in Major League Baseball. Andrelton Simmons obviously tops most of the, sabermetric lists with the defensive runs saved and all that kind of stuff. But to watch Didi at short on a daily basis, he's got some amazing hands over there. Torreyes at third, Gardner at second, and Judge at first. And they will all await a 3-2 pitch to Didi. It worked counts all night long as this Yankee offense. That is strike 3, a big out number 2 here for Cloyd.
Able to get the fastball by him at the bottom of the zone. Nice pitch.
And now it's Gary Sanchez. Couple of hits for him tonight.
First 2 singles on the season. Gary Sanchez came into tonight's ball game with 7 hits, all extra base hits. Oh,
0-1. He also walked in the fourth. So he's been on base 3 times. The Yankees have had lots of traffic on the bases tonight against Caleb Smith and Tyler Cloyd. A lot of opportunities with runners in scoring position. Five for 12, the Yankees tonight. They have cashed in. A base hit into center field. A line drive RBI single for Sanchez. 2 runs will come in. Judge to third. And the Yankees tack on 2 more.
For Gary Sanchez, a ringing single into center, his 3rd hit of the ball game. The timing, middle on the pitch, front foot down, hands through. Many people around baseball really do believe, comparing Judge and Stanton and Sanchez. Sanchez may be the best hitter of the bunch, and well, tonight he certainly has proven he's pretty good. 3 hits.
Aaron Hicks, the 9th batter of this inning for the Yankees. Hicks had a 2 RBI double back in the 3rd, also struck out in the 4th. Hicks has had his success with runners in scoring position this year as well, hitting at a .333 clip. Might be one of those situations for Cloyd as you look down and nobody's loosening. He's going to have to take one for the team tonight.
This is a long road trip. You do have a day off coming up after the Yankees series in Milwaukee. Nine games in 10 days. But yes, you're here at the front end of this. You've got to protect the back end of that bullpen. 35 pitches here in the bottom of the 5th. A lot of long at bats, pitches seen. I think even back to Caleb Smith, the Yankees battled him. He made some pitches with 2 strikes. He had 3 strikeouts in the game, but much like that take right there, this Yankees team has been resilient. I was wondering what they would look like after having a couple of days off over the weekend. Did score 8 runs on Friday.
Payoff pitch on the way is chopped wide of the first base bag. And Sanchez will retreat to first. The inning started double, double, single, walk, single. The first 5 hitters of this inning.
And that was now 7 walks for the Yankees.
Reminds you of the Yankee teams of old where they would just grind out at bats, as Hicks tried to do right there, but he is frozen. He goes down looking for the 2nd time tonight, but 4 more across for the Yankees. They lead this one 11-0.
Mets and Bryce Harper doing what he does best. Not only does he crush this ball, but he breaks his bat in half, and his teammates cannot believe it, including Trey Turner. That's the 8th home run of the season for Harper. It comes off of Jacob deGrom. But guys, it is the Mets who currently lead that game 2-1, heading to the 6th inning. The Metropolitans not showing any signs of slowing down soon.
No, not at all. Jessica,
Paul,
thanks so much.
Do you know what that was?
I think I do know.
That was a showstopper. And neither you nor I possess that kind of talent or power that we just witnessed from Bryce Harper.
No, sirree, Bob.
Broken bat, snapped it in half, and hit it over the right field wall. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. He's a behemoth. I think that's one way to put it.
He's something.
He is certainly something.
Soon to be wealthy. How about
that? He already is, actually. But but point well taken. Yeah, exactly. I know what you meant. Brian Holiday pops this one up into shallow right. Judge is there for out number 1.
I think I'd take that with me to any free agent team that was interested in me next year, right?
Yeah.
Like, so you go in and you say, glad to have me in town. I'm excited to be here. I'd like to hear about your organization, and say, okay, well, this is what I have to offer.
Right.
And then just put that on a reel.
Exactly.
Just show that to them over and over and over again. Do I need to show you anything else?
You don't need any of the raw numbers. You don't
Nothing.
need any
Just
of
let me
the
show you.
advanced metrics.
Right.
None of that stuff.
This is old school scouting, right?
That's right.
Eyeballs.
Because they're playing across town. They're playing in Queens. We're in the Bronx. They're in Queens. So it's got to be about the same temperatures, 50-some-odd degree temperatures. So it's not like the ball is carrying tonight.
Jacob deGrom's on the mound.
That's right.
all I'm saying.
And deGrom, at last check, 8 strikeouts, no walks.
Yeah.
So he's been doing
Well,
okay.
I'm sure the home run didn't bother him. It's just the act. Of what Harper did.
Absolutely. But I'm just saying, it's also not like deGrom's having a bad night. Called strike to Derek Dietrich, who is 0 for 2 in this one against Luis Severino. Just about everybody's 0 for except the guy who is up next, Miguel Rojas, the only hit tonight for the Marlins. He got a piece of that one to stay alive.
Nice job by Derek Dietrich. Tough pitch. Severino's been locked in since the start of this game, as I've mentioned a few times. Not a whole lot of hard contact. Battled.
Swing and a miss, strike 3, the 8th strikeout tonight for Luis Severino. And now a message brought to you by FPL.
At FPL, we're using technology to help us keep reliability high and bills low. That's how we're changing the current.
Again, 8 strikeouts for Luis Severino. This is really what this guy does. He is one of the game's premier young righties. As Rojas out to right field, this is Judge. A 1-2-3 6th inning for Luis Severino. It's all Yankees tonight in the Bronx. Bottom of the 6th inning. And again, they have scored in every frame here tonight. Caleb Smith got the start. Tyler Cloyd came in to get the final out of the 3rd inning. And Cloyd is back out there on what it's a chilly night. It doesn't seem too bad unless our booth is just keeping some of the heat in, but it's still in the 50s. Tyler Austin fouls the first pitch back. Austin led off the 5th inning. And he's back to lead off the 6th. Austin, Andujar, and Torreyes. But it's just a good thing that this game was played, because as we were flying in last night, the rain's hitting the plane, and you're looking at the forecast, and looks like it's going to basically rain from the time we got in around 9-ish last night all the way until about 2, but generally speaking, it stopped at about 11.
It was so bad last night. JFK was partially closed.
Yeah.
All sorts of complications getting in, but things have cleared out.
But, of course, you know, they put the tarp over the infield. Adam Warren loosens for the Yankees in their bullpen. They put the tarp over the infield, but the outfield, from what I've heard, just superior drainage. So it dry as a bone out there, despite the fact that it rained for the better part of 12 consecutive hours.
Field looks fantastic.
Let's see, there's some soccer markings out there. New York FC plays some games here, so either way, it's in fantastic playing condition as Austin is struck out to lead off the 6th.
Lloyd right at him. See fastball, a little tailing action up above the belt, able to get it by Austin.
So now it's Andujar, who walked in the 3rd and had an RBI double and scored a run in the 5th. The 75th pitch for Cloyd is fouled off. And it's 0-2. Yeah, the drainage at this ballpark, a far cry from the old yard across the street. Probably more so the first iteration of that ballpark. The old stories that you used to hear, the old Yankee Stadium with the drainage sewers out there and in the outfield, in the playing field. Mickey Mantle tore up his knee once, stepping on one of those things. As Andujar lines one to Shuck in right field, and that one's over his head. He recovers, throws into second base, but Andujar is in there safely with his 2nd double of the night.
Rocket off the bat off of Andujar. J.B. Shuck with the retreat as quickly as possible. Crossover step. I don't believe it cost him. I mean, this ball was hit so hard, short hops the wall. Is JB just trying to give himself even a shot at catching it. Ball well hit. I mentioned 2nd double of the game for Andujar.
The Yankees have hit a lot of balls hard tonight, as Ronald Torreyes fouls one off into the seats down the left field line. I was just looking at some of the exit velocities of this game. I think we both agree that just by looking at it, the hardest hit ball of the night was Stanton's foul ball, right?
Right.
Would you like to take a guess as to how hard that came off the bat?
You've got the foul ball.
I do have the foul ball. Very in depth over here.
I know Stanton pretty well. I've watched. I'm going to guess 128.
Wow, that's a big number. It's high. It's 117.8.
He crushed it, man. We're talking upper deck. You saw where it went.
Yes. This one will not reach the upper deck. It will fall into the glove of Miguel Rojas for the 2nd out here in the 6th inning.
I thought it was up there. I was a little high. Probably because I haven't seen that swing in a while.
Valiant effort, though.
It got up there, though, right? 117, so I was off by 9.
Yeah.
Like, guess the exit velocity.
You want to
I will say this,
Yeah.
and tell me if I'm wrong, and I very well may be, but I think the hardest hit ball tonight was Aaron Judge's single. That's just from the eyes.
No.
No?
You were right on the person, though.
Home run, huh?
Yeah.
How about that?
At least that's what's registering here. Would you like to guess on that, or are you over this game right now?
I'll play along one more time. I'll go one. Well, you said, well, we're not counting the foul ball, right?
Right, no. So, yeah.
I'll go 118.
108. Got to get your eyes adjusted because you're accurate. You're just off by 10. So you just need to be recalibrated. That's all it is.
That's some serious exit velocity. I had mentioned there was exit velocity in batting practice today.
There certainly was. Cloyd up to 82 pitches, a called strike to Brett Gardner. Saw Chris O'Grady loosening in the Marlins bullpen a few moments ago. There's O'Grady. And again, one of those situations where obviously the results not ideal coming out of the bullpen, just in terms of the, the hits and the runs and everything else, but to not have to eat through so many arms in a game that, might be a little bit out of reach at this point. Go out there and throw upwards of 85 pitches in relief. It helps a little bit, I suppose.
Certainly has a lot of value in helping protect the other arms in the bullpen. At some point, you're able to stabilize the rest of this ball game, maybe divvy up the remaining 2 innings, unless the Marlins put together a huge comeback and make that 3.
Gardner just keeps fighting off pitches, still alive, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Gardner fooled on the last pitch, actually decelerated his hands just to make contact with the breaking ball. Bad control.
It's like the old game of pepper.
Well, he started to swing hard, and it was funny because he slowed his swing way, way down just to get a piece.
Next pitch will be the 8th of this at bat. That one got a piece of the second base umpire, Bill Welke, who's down. It kept the ball in the infield. Umpires are part of the field of play. The fans are going to boo, but the Marlins catch a little bit of a break right there.
Rocket off the bat of Brett Gardner. Really no chance to get out of the way. One step to the right, actually jumped into the path. This was 105 off the bat. Realize how hard it is to get out of the way of 105.
And now Aaron Boone is going to come out and try to just get an explanation, but the umpires are part of the field of play. So that's why that happened, but Don Mattingly is going to come out, and it looks like going to make a pitching change and hand things off to Chris O'Grady. Now, this call to the bullpen is brought to you by the Florida Lottery. Cloyd out, O'Grady in. And 2 out. Chris O'Grady, the third pitcher of the night for the Miami Marlins, pitching in his 8th game this season. Opponents hitting .227 off the lefty. Will face Aaron Judge with runners on first and second and 2 outs.
Now, Chris O'Grady has been very, very good, minus his last outing. April 11th versus the Mets. He was unable to record an out, 3 hits, 3 earned runs. That's why the bloated ERA. Other than that, he's been very good.
Swing and a miss for Judge, who has reached base 3 times in this ball game. Walked and scored in the first. Hit a solo home run in the second and had an RBI single in the 5th.
O'Grady's done a nice job against the righties. .214 batting average against. Here's the cutter. You'll see 4-seam fastball, the cut fastball, and the changeup as well.
Well, O'Grady's a guy who doesn't really necessarily rely on his velocity, so that's why we've seen him so much. Talked to him early in the season, just kind of asked him about that. You know, how good are you kind of bouncing back? He said, I'm fine with it. Not that he pitched in yesterday's game. I'm just saying in general, that one, a nice job to grab that one at third by Anderson. He spins and throws and retires Aaron Judge. We go to the 7th. Yankees on top. As we go to the top of the 7th inning. First game of a short 2-game set. Yankees will come down to Miami in August, finish up the season series, but they are certainly off to a good start in this one as they got lots of runs on the board. They got a terrific start from Luis Severino, who went the first 6 innings of this ball game, surrendered 1 hit, a walk, and 8 strikeouts, and he gives way to Adam Warren, another one of the weapons out of the bullpen for Aaron Boone, pitching in his 7th game this season. As Jace Peterson takes over for Aaron Judge in right.
Adam Warren, 4 pitches, fastball, slider, change, curveball. Fastball sits in the 91, 92 range. Uses his slider about half the time. Been very good in 2018 at getting the ground ball. 5-to-1 ratio. Let me get some work here. This, the 7th inning, but 11-0 Yankees lead.
Starlin Castro, Justin Bour, and Brian Anderson do up here for the Marlins. Well, it kind of got what we would have expected I guess, most times out from Luis Severino, and how sharp he was and how dominant he certainly can be and has been. And he was that tonight, as Peterson is going to get tested right here on a fly ball from Castro, one away. But again, we're talking in the break, one of those situations where you get your offense going, you get a lot of runs on the board, and Aaron Boone utilizing this opportunity to have I guess you could call it a less than stressful night for your starting pitcher and get him out after 86 pitches and go to the bullpen.
86 pitches, 57 strikes, 6 innings, only the 1 hit. Gil Rojas, 1 walk, 8 Ks. He did his job and again bounced back from a rough one. His last start, his worst of the season against the Boston Red Sox. We ran you the numbers and told you how good he is at typically doing that. He did it once again tonight.
Well, there was some speculation after that one, and trust me, I'm not smart enough to pick up on any of these things, so I just read what's written, and then I ask you if you think there's anything to it. But you know, that start in Boston, which obviously didn't go Luis Severino's way, as Justin Bour flicks one out to left field, using the opposite field again for his first hit tonight, second time he's on base.
Justin Bour stays hot, continues to put out good at-bats. That can be difficult to do when you're on defense for as long as the Marlins defense has been out there tonight. Elevated fastball, outer third. Nice job, front foot down, stays behind it. I mentioned over the last 4 or 5 games, really the difference between Justin Bour now and some of the struggles that he had. He's not missing his pitch, and I think that's a pretty good example in what we just saw.
Ball 1 to Brian Anderson, but to get back to that point about the tipping of the pitches thing, again, it's not just limited to Luis Severino. I mean, we talked about it a few weeks ago with Yu Darvish, right? Like, it seems like it always comes up. These, you know, great pitchers have rough nights, and all of a sudden, well, they're human. They must be tipping their pitches.
Well, remember, I'm a hitter, and most guys who really sit in this chair are typically pitchers, and, you know, you hear the stories. It just feels so convenient to me. It's always attached to. It's like a Band-Aid over a bad outing. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's like, here it comes. He must be tipping his pitches. Why don't you give the hitter some credit sometimes? It is what it is. I understand it. But it has become at least in my opinion, a convenient excuse over the last years or so. When we've seen Ace get knocked around or struggle a little bit, he must be tipping his pitches.
Right.
Well, always makes me giggle.
Let me ask you this, though.
Well, there's definitely tipping. Don't get me wrong. I mean,
Right.
I'll tell you, there isn't a dugout I didn't sit in. There isn't a game I didn't play where a teammate of mine or, you know, even I wasn't particularly great at doing this, but we would always be discussing what we were witnessing on the mound. And if there's something different that you can pick up on in the delivery as far as understanding what might be on the way. So you're right. But it's part of the game of baseball. But when you kind of throw it out there, of course, have you ever heard it this way? 7 solid innings, earned run, 8 Ks. I think he was tipping his pitches. No, I've never heard that, you know? It's like, so, only shows up at certain times.
Right, when it's convenient,
Mm-hmm.
Sure. 3-2 to Brian Anderson, who comes up empty for the second out here in the 7th inning.
Whether you're from Dade or Broward, speak English or Spanish, your voice counts. Marlins are committed to elevating your experience at the ballpark. Share your feedback online or at the ballpark. Enter to win prizes throughout the season. Visit marlins.com/DMillo to get started.
Tomas Tellez has to get out of the way of that one. Justin Bour will advance to second with 2 outs here in the 7th. All right, well, here's another one in terms of the communication, right? Like with the tipping of the pitches. What about signs, right? Stealing signs, gaining signs, whatever terminology you want to put on it.
Absolutely.
You're in the box.
Mm-hmm.
Guys on second, do you want to know what's coming?
Well, everybody's different. Some guys do. I really didn't. I because generally speaking, I hit to more of a. I was more of a zone hitter, but I was always about trying to feel the catchers. I mean, of course, everybody gets accused. I think if you play long enough at one time or another of peeking back at the catcher. I always found that very difficult to do without actually turning my head down to see what he was putting down. I think it's very difficult. Of course, you see peripherally. I'm not going to even try to say that again. Out to the mound and what's going on behind you. But, in the discussion, you do feel catchers move. And some catchers would move early, and I thought there was a huge advantage to me as a hitter. He slides out to the outside corner to give that target. Well, of course, where am I going to start looking, right? Start looking away. Other catchers, they move late, and those were always the good ones. Yadi Molina, he was fantastic about it. And he was silent for a guy that's as big as he is. He'd slide out and honestly didn't, quiet as a church mouse, just slide right over, and you didn't know where he was at. Other guys, bigger guys, they move around back there. You start to know where they're at.
The game within the game. It's always fascinated me.
Yeah, you're always trying to pick up on as much information as you can, pass it along to your teammates. You're right. I mean, there's certain guys tip. I mean, that goes on. I suppose everybody does a little bit, but again, we only talk about it when there's bad outings. Maybe that's what I should complain about.
I've also heard stories of guys who were really good at picking up pitchers who tip. Right?
Sure.
And if it's a guy on their team, they won't tell the pitcher so that he might tip when he's on a different team.
Possible.
I mean, that's just unbelievable. So we've got to wear it tonight so that, 2 years down the road, you'll know when the fastball's coming.
Well, the one I was always, amazed at, and again, this is the one that really does exist. Like, especially if you're in a closer ball game, this isn't the game that there would be an example. But much like you see Justin Bour out at second base, obviously Gary Sanchez putting down signs right now. You have access to that. Now,
off of Warren, bobbled there by Gregorius, and Talese will reach.
They're going to rule that a base hit. So for Talese, good to see. Back-to-back games with a base hit. Justin Bour moves up to third base. Take a quick look. One hopper back at Warren, who does not get really turned around all the way. Deflects it to Didi. Didi may have had a shot if, in fact, he was able to field it cleanly, but was not able to. Yeah, stealing signs at second base, and then the relaying of those signs to hitters. That's the one that really gets everybody worked up. Or even the accusation of it.
Mm-hmm.
You see a guy at second base, if he leans to his left leg, it's a fastball, or if he leans to his right leg, it's a slider. I mean, there's different things, different ways of doing it.
But that's kind of like the organic way to do it. It's when you've got guys in bullpens with binoculars and lights
and
on the scoreboards.
Yeah, I've heard the stories over time. I mean, too much knowledge, I think, is a dangerous thing in our sport. But,
right.
A lot of guys, they wanted to go up there and know what was coming. I always felt I was better at reacting than guessing because, I never wanted my anger to be at the person who was giving me the cheat code. You know what I mean?
Right.
So if you look at this and he's going to throw you a slider, and then you're like, all right, I'm going to sit on this slider. And all of a sudden the guy pumps one by you or he puts you, you're not mad at the pitcher. You're mad at your teammate.
Maven held up, a ball and 2 strikes. They've been a couple of strikeouts in this ball game. Severino had 8. Adam Warren rather has 1 thus far, and this is his first inning of work. That one misses the outside edge, and it's 2-2. Sanchez tried to steal one there, but home plate umpire Lance Barrett says no, sir. So 3 balls and 2 strikes. That will release Talese from first for the runner on third. Payoff pitch from Warren is upstairs, and the Marlins have the bases loaded here in the 7th. One career at bat for J.B. Shuck against Adam Warren. 1 for 1 with a triple. One of his 9 career triples. He got his 9th in his first Marlins plate appearance a few nights ago. He takes a called strike.
Well, Warren really sticking with the slider. So the at bat by maybe a couple close pitches, one at the top of the zone, back at it. Shuck, that's 4 consecutive sliders.
Yeah, that triple for Shuck, part of that career high 4-hit night a few nights ago, tied a record for most hits in a Marlins debut. He's actually the 4th player to hit a triple in his first plate appearance with the Marlins. Not bad for for being called up on Wednesday. Check that on Thursday and then playing Friday. Board, Talese, and Maben, your runners.
Best opportunity to score tonight for the Marlins.
Shuck called up to add a little mix and match. It was also the same day that Garrett Cooper was transferred to the 60-day DL with a hand injury and to be immobilized. That's the bad news on the injury front. The good news, JT Realmuto is close, very close. Shuck, left field line, foul. Bohr had a 1-out single. Talese had a 2-out single. And Maben drew the walk. So the Marlins got the bases loaded here in the 7th. They have just 3 hits in this ball game. Jason Shreve up for the Yankees in their pen. Fouled off and literally off J.B. Shuck.
Fights off a tough pitch. The changeup from Warren had not shown that at all during the at-bat. Be difficult for a hitter at times. You see something there late, 2 strikes that you have not seen in the previous pitch. This will be the 29th pitch for Warren.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Marlins leave the bases loaded in the 7th. All Yankees tonight. but the last. It's time for tonight's Coors Light refreshing finish. Sure, the runs have piled up and the hits as well, but Luis Severino was superb, if not, dare I say, dominant tonight. 6 innings, 1 hit, and 8 strikeouts. Slider was working, fastball was working, pinpoint control. Again, 8 strikeouts and 86 pitches tonight, showing why he finished in the top 3 of the Cy Young vote in 2017. Let's go downstairs and check in with Jessica Blaylock.
Hey Paul, Chris O'Grady, originally born and raised in a small town just north of the city called Congers, New York. So taking the mound here at Yankee Stadium, a pretty cool experience for him. In fact, he posted this on Instagram earlier today. Been dreaming of playing in Yankee Stadium since I was a kid. Today, I finally get to live that dream. Hashtag home sweet home. So guys, this is certainly a night that O'Grady is going to remember.
Yeah, this is, it may not be the original Yankee Stadium, but there is still something to playing in the Bronx that means something to anyone that has grown up in this area watching Yankee games, and a special night for Chris O'Grady, no question about it. So a chance to pitch. Listen, I'm sure he'd rather be in there protecting a lead. I get it, but the fact that he's out there is certainly something special, no question about it.
Well, call it New Yankee Stadium. The history is here as much as it was in the old stadium. Don't you agree?
Absolutely.
I mean, you certainly feel it here. I mean, Steinbrenner family has done a fantastic job of transitioning everything that is Yankees history into this building.
Of course, the likeness of the boss, George M. Steinbrenner, the retired numbers out there in left field, beyond the bleachers. See Don Mattingly's number 23 there, of course. Got the old Armatron clock, which is similar, as Stanton strikes out for the second time tonight, one away here in the 7th inning. And now Didi Gregorius, 2-run home run back in the 4th. Also walked and scored in the 3rd. But yeah, I mean, it's some of the things that you could see out there in the outfield, whether it's George Steinbrenner, the retired numbers. Out in dead center field, as Gregorius moves out of the way of that, is Monument Park, which moved over, which in the old ballpark, in the first version of it, the monuments, which some people thought used to be gravestones actually, of those Yankee greats, they're not, just to confirm that for you. Those were actually in the playing field when the wall was much further back than it is now at 408 feet out in straightaway center field. Those are the monuments that moved over from across the street. As Gregorius gets into this one to right center field. And that one is gone. His 2nd home run of the night. Yankees up 12-0.
Second time this year, Didi Gregorius has homered 2 times in a ball game. 12th run for the Yankees, their most this season in a game. Didi Gregorius' season seemingly getting better by the moment. His 5th home run. This pitch up above the belt. See the extension. Both home runs off the bat of Gregorius tonight, no doubters. It's the back of the bullpen wall.
Third career multi-home run game for Didi Gregorius. And as Todd mentioned, 2nd already this year. Sanchez fouls one back. Can I say this? and maybe not get in trouble. I'm glad we only see the Yankees 4 times.
12-0, bottom 7.
As Sanchez drops one foul. I mean, you just think of, I mean, again, the Marlins and Yankees played 2 here, 2 in Miami in August. But think about having to see this team 19 times if you're the Rays or the Blue Jays or the Orioles or the Red Sox. I mean, there's no let up in this lineup. There really is.
You wonder why pitching's running thin in baseball right now.
Yeah. Whether it be the offense or the starting rotation anchored by tonight's starter, Luis Severino, the bullpen. Again, back of the baseball card. Bullpen, I know they might be scuffling right now, but it's mid-April for some of those guys. There's not many weaknesses here as Sanchez is out for out number 2.
Every weekday morning, Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharp go head-to-head. The day's hottest sports topics, Undisputed with Skip and Shannon, weekdays from 9:30 a.m. until noon Eastern, only on FS1.
Here's Aaron Hicks. Struck out in back-to-back at-bats tonight, but also had a 2-run double back in the 3rd. Yankees have scored in every inning tonight except the 6th. Pretty well balanced, well distributed RBIs tonight as well. Judge has a couple. Gregorius 3. Sanchez has 3. Hicks has 2. Tyler Austin, Miguel Andujar both with 1.
You finished?
Yeah. Yep.
A lot of RBIs to go around in a 12-0 game. This Yankees team, I guess even late in these innings, I think what's really so impressive, you don't see hitters giving away at bats.
No.
They just continue to grind and battle and fight off tough pitches.
Hicks, fly ball, left field, long run for Dietrich toward the line, slides, and can't haul that one in. That was a long way to get to that one.
Dietrich does a nice job. He certainly knows that once he hits the track, he starts to run out of space. That foul by about 6 to 8 inches. Good idea to get down on those legs as you slide into the wall. Give yourself a chance to make the catch and protect yourself as well. Good effort.
Couple of strikeouts in the inning for Chris O'Grady. After coming on to get the final out of the 6th inning. Back out for the 7th. Struck out Stanton. Gave up the home run to Gregorius. Struck out Sanchez, and then he walks Hicks.
Two-out walk to Hicks. Bring up Tyler Austin.
Austin walked in the 1st inning. That brought home a run. Doubled and scored in the 5th. He swings through that one, 0-1.
We've seen the effectiveness of the slider tonight from O'Grady to the right-handed hitters. Sanchez striking out on the pitch as well. Got a good look of it. Excuse me, a good look at it right there. Getting ahead of Austin.
Series wraps up tomorrow. Same bat channel tomorrow, by the way. Little earlier start time. 6:35 first pitch. We're on the air with Marlins Live at 6. As Harlan Garcia gets his second big league start against Masahiro Tanaka. Craig Minervini, Jeff Nelson have you covered from the studio. Jessica Blaylock down on the field. Again, 6:35 tomorrow, first pitch. I guess the Yankees have been testing that out in the early goings of the 2018 season in an effort to maybe get some more kids to the ballpark during school days, start the game a half hour earlier. As Austin rips one into left field. Hicks around second and head towards third. Austin into second base with his second double of the night.
The same spot for Austin, as you mentioned. Now double number 2 into the left field corner. Very similar pitch, down and in. Austin, a little bit of that uppercut swing as he solid contact into the left field line.
So Austin's got 2 doubles, and Duhar has 2 doubles. And Holiday is going to go out and talk with O'Grady. And out comes Juan Nieves. Again for tomorrow, Garcia's second big league start. 6 scoreless innings, 6 hitless innings in his first outing, his first start rather. So we'll see if he can carry that over into tomorrow's game.
No, that's a pretty good test for him as well. It's not really about innings or number of pitches, as he has been stretched out here, even at the major league level, both in his last start and certainly in the bullpen. He's thrown 10 innings there as well. Just getting the challenge of going up against this Yankees team after a night in which just about everybody's erupted. Everybody's going to show up to the field tomorrow. Confidence is high, feeling good about their swings. Everybody's contributed tonight. That's going to be challenging for Garcia tomorrow.
They're down to the last 2. Mound visits, that is.
What's the R stand for?
Mound visits remaining.
Oh, thank you. Mound visits remaining. As close as we've gotten from our eyes, from our vantage point. 3, I think, it was on the homestand, I believe.
It's exciting, isn't it?
Tonight it is.
It's like driving with the gas needle on E. How far can you go?
Can you get to the gas station?
Like that old Seinfeld episode.
It's getting a little loose up here.
It is. The 1-1 to Andujar is smothered there by Holiday.
Nice job keeping that in front.
First game of a 9-game road trip through New York, through Milwaukee, through LA before back home for the Rockies in 10 days. Twelve of the first 15 games this season, by the way, home for the Marlins. So they were not nearly as affected as the rest of Major League Baseball has been with the weather. Called strike 2. What, 6 postponements in baseball yesterday? The Yankees had a doubleheader moved until June, I believe it was.
Yeah, they get to go back to Detroit.
Yeah, for 2 in one day. And Duhar out to center field. Maven spins around and will haul that one in. Another run in for the Yankees in the 7th. They lead it as we go to the 8th. By the way, this is indoors. Games are getting postponed and delayed in brand new ways. This is Toronto at Rogers Center. Now, what exactly happened, you ask? Well, it's a good thing the Blue Jays said this. Tonight's game has been canceled due to inclement weather causing damage to our roof. So, of course, you can go there and figure out how to get tickets to the game. Tomorrow, a 3:07 traditional doubleheader.
I believe I have a friend from Toronto who was telling me about it. Ice hit
Right,
the roof
exactly.
in Toronto.
From the CN Tower, I believe.
Yeah,
too, right?
fell off the building next door and put a hole in the ceiling.
Not good. Time for the Toyota Trend. Already 21 games have been affected by some form of weather. You can't even say rain because there's been so much snow around. Minnesota had all kinds of crazy snow over the weekend. I mean, it's really brutal. Austin Romine takes over behind the plate. And Chasen Shreve takes over on the mound as Brian Holliday fouls one back. 9-1-2 for the Marlins here in the 8th. Dietrich and Rojas will follow. Fifth time this season that Shreve has been on the mound. Hasn't given up an earned run yet. And opponents hitting 150 off of him.
Shreve, fastball, slider, split. You'll see the split a lot. Throws about 56% of the time. That fastball sits in the 92 range.
Tap fouled at the plate by Brian Holliday. So a couple of other changes, by the way. We showed you Romine behind the plate and Shreve on the mound. Ronald Torreyes moves over from second base to shortstop, and Tyler Wade is in at second. How about the setup and the delivery of Shreve? Hard to pick up?
I would say so.
Kind of shows you those numbers. It's tough.
Gain an advantage by doing that. Some awkward mechanics. Very closed off. You see the front side very tight, close to the body, and picks that leg up and tucks. Probably gains a little bit on his fastball as the hitter struggles to pick up his release point.
All the different ways that pitchers kind of get the ball to home plate. I was reading something by Tom Verducci today, of course, a terrific writer with Sports Illustrated. And he had a little blurb on how David Price is now moving to the same place on the rubber as Chasen Shreve, the third base side of the rubber. And he was saying that all the pitches that Price now delivers, as this one is rolled over to Andujar over at third, it rolls up his arm, and Holliday will reach to begin the 8th. See how they score this one. It's going to be an error on Andujar. And back to the top of the lineup here for Derek Dietrich. But yeah, how David Price has just made the adjustment, not necessarily with the mechanics, but just where he stands on the rubber, and more of his pitches are now competitive pitches.
You hear me talk about that all the time, right? I mean, you know, the wasting of pitches, you know, to the hitter's eyes. I mean, we talk about 100 pitches. How do you use those 100 pitches? It's the effectiveness of it. And I certainly defend what David Price is doing. Listen, you got to be creative. I always find it interesting when you watch somebody who has succeeded for such a long time like David Price has. At some point, you know, when the offense, when the velocity starts to tick down just a little bit, maybe your stuff becomes, I don't want to dare say less effective. That's not necessarily the right way to describe it. But guys have a really good feel for what you bring every time. And if you start to age a little bit, how are you going to adjust? There's a pitcher right here in this building, CC Sabathia, who's done a fantastic job. I played with CC in 06. Boy, that dates me, right? We're going back a long time. Now, CC was a young man coming up. CC, the big guy, he was throwing 96, 97 miles an hour for the Cleveland Indians at the time. Had one of the best fastballs in the game. That's just not the case anymore. doesn't throw that hard, the game has changed. How is he going to evolve? So, evolve. You look at David Price, it makes all the sense in the world, and you get it. The game, we talk about it, and I talk about it all the time. How hitters make adjustments. Guys on the mound, they've got to do it too.
And a guy like CeCe, not necessarily becoming a thrower anymore, but becoming a pitcher.
Right.
That's what you always hear.
Well, it's like the development of the secondary pitches. I think it's so interesting. Like, you look at how pitchers develop, and you start using, you look at their sequencing. The fastball comes way down. Maybe they start using their slider an awful lot more. You have great examples of that throughout the game as hitters and pitchers constantly are changing their game and adjusting to what each is doing.
Dietrich retired for the first out here in the 8th. That'll bring up Miguel Rojas. Rojas had a double back in the 4th. That extended his hit streak to 9 games. Well, that's the thing. There's the in-game adjustment that we talk about so much. Knowing how a starter, for example, tried to attack you in the first at-bat, the second at-bat, the third at-bat. But then there's that adjustment over the course of a career. And the old adage is it's hard to get to the big leagues and it's harder to stay.
Well, and that's the idea that your stuff, Major League Baseball is the dynamic of facing guys many, many times. I learned this, once you get past, hey, look, I'm facing Greg Maddux for the first time, then you realize you're facing him a second time and a third time and a fourth time. You do get over the fact that you're facing Greg Maddux all those times, but he's still Greg Maddux when the ball comes out of his hand.
Right.
So how are you not only going to make the adjustments to him, find your ways to success? I think Lewis Brinson's dealing with some of this right now as his game, as he's trying to figure out his swing and how he's being pitched at the major league level. He's going to have to make adjustments. We've talked about some of the sequencing. Fastballs at his hands, sliders away. How is he going to make an adjustment to counteract that pattern that pitchers are using against him right now?
How much of that is a feel thing that you work out in the cage? How much of that is a video thing? It's
a batting coach thing. Well, at least it was for me. And I'm not, listen, I'm not speaking for, the game's greats that I, competed with. I'm not talking about, the guys that are on the field and you see as Hall of Famers. I think they're a little bit different than the rest of us. But for the most of us, very good relationship with our hitting coaches. Our hitting coaches know our swings as well as we do. You game plan your hitting swing, and he sees what you're failing at, what you're not doing well as far as what got you there and what you're about as far as your swing is concerned. He's trying to get you back to that.
Payoff pitch to Rojas. Fouls that one away and stays alive. There's Mike Pagliarulo, who's out by the cage every day, and if you have ever seen anyone with tunnel vision, this guy has it. Like, he is just locked in on each and every hitter. Bounces from one side of the cage to the other. And just constantly making notes. Assistant hitting coach there, Frank Menachino, always communicating with these guys in the cage. As Rojas chops one through the left side. Another multi-hit game for Miguel Rojas.
Watch every out-of-market regular season game live at home, in the office, or on the go with MLB.tv. Your subscription includes MLB At-Bat Premium, allowing you to watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. Here's some Marlins fans.
Well, I do know of some Marlins fans who bought tickets for this particular series in hopes of seeing Giancarlo Stanton. Before the trade.
Listen, your pass list does not count.
No.
You're not allowed to count the pass list.
No. I do have
well, there you go. There
friends and family
here,
Giancarlo, but more friends than family. But still, there's Giancarlo. But yeah, the same person who was kind enough to help out getting the video that we had yesterday of your 3-home-run game with the Bees. An old MLB Network pal.
Very nice.
She was excited to get tickets to the Marlins. She's a Marlins fan. Come to the game to see Giancarlo Stanton. Come to find out, she's had 81 chances to see him. It's 0-2 to Yadiel Rivera, who took over for Starlin Castro defensively earlier tonight. Rivera had 2 at-bats on the homestand. He singled and scored a run. And in doing so, coming off the bench and getting that base hit against the New York Mets, snapped an 0 for 7 skid. That one misses, and the count runs full to 3-2. So the runners, Brian Holiday at second and Miguel Rojas at first, will get a look at this payoff pitch from their current vantage point. Only 1 out. Rivera fouls it off. This season, the Marlins are collaborating with local lifestyle brand Life for an exclusive t-shirt collection. During select games, you'll be able to get a Marlins-inspired Life brand t-shirt with a special bundled ticket to the game. For games and dates and to purchase your collection of 4, visit marlins.com/offers. Again, it will be a 3-2 to Rivera, and that is ball 4. Second inning in a row that the Marlins have the bases loaded.
Now for the Marlins, right man, right spot, stepping up into the left-handed batter's box. Justin Bohr, quality at bats tonight, has a base hit, has a walk, and has been swinging a hot bat. That batting average creeping up. Obviously, the production, the 4 home runs, we've talked about it over the last few games. To 10 RBIs and a chance for more tonight.
Well, listen, if the Marlins mount a 12-run rally, nobody's going to be happier than them and than us. But you get a sense that you get these opportunities in the 7th with the bases loaded, now in the 8th with the bases loaded, to take something out of tonight's ball game and into tomorrow.
Well, it's very, very important for this Marlins offense to continue the resiliency and to put together quality at bats. Obviously, we've talked, the Yankees have done that. For the Marlins, this is we've seen it in the early goings. A few games that have gotten away, and they've continued to put, for the most part, good at bats out late.
Shreve's 2-0 to Bohr is inside. 3 balls and no strikes.
That's a great take. That goes to show you where Justin Bohr's at right now. I mean, you know, a lot of Paul, I would have come out of my shoes right there, swung at that pitch, and probably popped it up just because it's a 2-0 fastball. JB did a nice job laying off. Lefty. Going to get himself an even better pitch, or at least he should right here. Taking all the way.
Tommy Kahnle out there in the Yankee bullpen. 3 career grand slams for Justin Bohr to go along with a .385 average in these situations. Called strike 2.
Bohr not happy about the call. Walks out of the batter's box, a little frustrated. See if he's able to regroup. Probably thought that was down and out just a little bit.
Ground ball right side. Austin gets it, throws to second for 1. A run comes in on the ground out. And the fielder's choice helps to push across the first run of the night for the Marlins.
Justin Bohr gets his 11th RBI of the season. Fastball's going to break his bat. Ground ball to the right side. Only play is to second base. Or beat Shreve to the first base bag.
And now it's Brian Anderson with runners on the corners and 2 outs. Ball 1.
Well, this is a good test for Anderson. We've talked about it here in the late going. What these at-bats mean. Anderson, obviously a difficult game tonight. Still has the opportunity to put together a quality at-bat his 4th time up.
He struck out twice against Luis Severino, 2 of his 8. But the approach of this young man has impressed a lot of people around the game. From Brian Anderson, situation where we've seen him only at third, but in the coming weeks might be bouncing around the diamond a little bit more with the return of Martin Prado, who had extended spring training tonight and tomorrow. Will play 5 innings at third base. And assuming Prado comes back healthy, whenever that may be, again, no timetable. He's at extended spring now. He would then progress to a rehab assignment. Whenever he comes back, we might see Anderson at first or second or the outfield. But if he keeps hitting, Don Mattingly will enjoy that problem of how to get Anderson in the lineup with different options. And another option could be coming rather soon in the person of JT Realmuto, as early as tomorrow. 3-2 pitch is outside, ball 4. Marlins have him loaded again. A visit from Larry Rothschild. Second walk of the inning for Chasen Shreve. Well, for as frustrating of a night as this has been for the Marlins, down 12-1 here in the 8th, I think you could make a case that these last couple of innings have been just as frustrating from a Yankee standpoint, that they get a great start from Severino. Warren worked the 7th, had to work around some trouble. Shreve has come out. He's already thrown 38 pitches in this inning.
Well, I mentioned that the Yankees are trying to get things in order in their bullpen. They've had some issues down there, and they, again, have bullpen activity.
Now it's Dellin Betances up and loosening. A ball to Tomas Tellez. Saw Canely up before, but Betances warming now. Those two 11 earned runs in 14 innings pitched. But boy, when they're right, those are 2 big arms out of that Yankee bullpen. Let's go downstairs to Jessica Blaylock.
Hey guys, just want to give everyone a heads up. I will be doing our post-game show from here at Yankee Stadium. It's brought to you by WB Mason, and we've got a lot of good things coming up. We'll hear from manager Don Mattingly. We'll also take a look at a crazy play that happened just up the road in the game between the Washington Nationals and the Mets. That is all coming up in our post-game show in just a little bit. Guys.
Jessica, thanks. This one is lofted out to left center field, and Brett Gardner puts it away for out number 3. That'll do it for the Marlins in the 8th. They get their first run, but they're down 12-1. West, transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center, in pursuit of your cure. And by your South Florida Honda dealers. A cool night here in the Bronx, first of a two-game set. Yankees on top of this one, 12-1 as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. As Junichi Tazawa takes over, the 4th pitcher of the night for the Marlins. Pitching in his 9th game. Surrendered a couple of home runs, but overall, opponents hitting 161. So he'll face Ronald Torreyes and then Brett Gardner. And Jace Peterson, who came in as a defensive replacement for Aaron Judge earlier in this ball game. Torreyes singled and scored back in the 5th. Again, the Tazawa, the 4th pitcher of the night for the Marlins. Caleb Smith got the start, 2 1/3, 5 earned runs. Tyler Cloyd came in, worked 3 1/3. Chris O'Grady, an inning and a third. And now Tazawa. Torreyes got a piece of that one to stay alive. The versatility of Ronald Torreyes is obviously what makes him valuable on this team. 43 games at second last year, 26 at short, 16 at third. One of 5 major leaguers with at least 15 games started at each of those positions in 2017. And a called strike 3, second time he's been set down on strikes tonight, 1 away in the 8th.
Zawa had him thinking splitty curveball. He went with the fastball. Low zone. First out, bottom of the 8th. Nice job. Zawa's been doing an outstanding job this season. Outside of a couple of mistakes that went for home runs, he has been really good. It's good to see here in 2018 the incorporation of the curveball, the slow curve. He's used it many times. Actually picking up some outs with it as well. Spot for the 92-mile-an-hour fastball.
First pitch to Brett Gardner is outside, a ball and no strikes. Gardner singled and scored in the 1st, walked and scored in the 5th, and added a second hit in the 6th inning. Harlan Garcia, Masahiro Tanaka, the 2 starting pitchers in the series finale tomorrow. Gardner pops this one up. Shuck for out number 2. And Marlins live pregame show tomorrow, 6 o'clock, and first pitch 6:35 here in the Bronx. So our first look at Jace Peterson taking over for Aaron Judge, who connected on home run number 60 in his career back in the 2nd inning. Fastest man in baseball history to reach 60 home runs. Did it in his 197th game. And the 1-0, swing and a miss. Jace Peterson spent the last 3 years with the Atlanta Braves, spent 2014 with the Padres. Signed with the Yankees as a free agent just after New Year's Day, January 2nd. Two and one from Tazawa. He's fouled off.
Holiday in the mask. No problem here as Zawa looks to put Peterson away.
And he does just that. A couple of strikeouts in the 8th for Tazawa to the 9th. Opener of this short 2-game set. Dellin Betances will take over for the 9th inning as he looks to straighten out some early season woes, pitching in his 7th game so far in 2018.
In 2017 gave up 3 home runs. 2018 he's given up 3 home runs already. Get this, Paul. This is the one that really stood out to me. His batting average on balls in play, and I know it's early. .538 against Betances. That's insane. Betances is one of the better 8th inning setup men in all of the game of baseball, and he has had his struggles. Fastball slider.
Ooh. I think Maben got out of the way of that one, thankfully. But a wake-up call nonetheless.
He's actually throwing the slider 64% of the time this season. It clearly speaks to the lack of fastball command, and I think we just saw it.
Well, that's interesting. If you look at the usages of his pitches and how they've kind of changed over the years, he's gone a little bit more like fastball, more away from the fastball just in general.
Yeah, you look at the usage here now. I mean, you just saw it on a 2-0 pitch. He thinks he's going to throw a slider more accurately than his fastball. He went with the 3-0. But the numbers don't lie. When you see 64% slider usage this early in the season, that tells you, I mean, he's still throwing hard. But that batting average on balls in play is also alarming. .538.
As Aaron Boone tries to straighten this guy out. Tommy Canely. 2 power arms along with, of course, Aroldis Chapman, as Maben is down on strikes for the first out. One of, if not the most powerful bullpens in Major League Baseball. There's J.B. Shuck.
5 of their arms average fastball velocity above 95 miles an hour.
Well, see, that's the thing. It all comes back to how is your team built. You know, you hear a lot of people saying, well, just go with a bullpen game. Just have a bullpen-heavy pitching staff. Well, it's one thing to say that the Yankees should do that when they've got, what did you say, 5 guys?
5 guys.
Averaging 95? Yeah.
Averaging at 95 or above. I mean, that's including, obviously, Aroldis Chapman, who's up near 100, although he's a little bit down this year.
Right. But not every team has those weapons.
Right.
Lots of guys throw hard nowadays. It seems like everybody's got a couple or 3 of them. These guys have 5. He's got 2 strikeouts here in the 9th inning.
Well, he's worked his way back from the 3-0 count of Maben to punch out 2. Short order. There is the devastating slider that Betances possesses. Late break movement.
And now Brian Holiday, the last hope for the Marlins, takes a called strike. Reached on an error and scored the only Marlin run tonight in the 8th inning. And is going to keep this game going with a base hit into right field. He hung up at home plate, and I wonder, was there catcher interference there?
He's holding his right hand.
Everybody kind of froze around home plate.
Very interesting, because this was fair by a long shot.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't hugging the line. You know, I understand that was a good 25 feet fair.
I wonder if he just hit that one literally right off the end of the bat.
Well, he definitely did, because you see him holding his hand. He's got a little zinger right now in his fingers, and he's probably going to feel that for a while. It's chilly out tonight. Maybe he didn't know where it was going off the bat. Sometimes that happens. You foul off a ball and you keep your head down, sometimes a little bit too long, and you look up and you don't pick it up right away.
He's gotten a hit in 5 of his 8 starts, as Brian Holiday. He just lost it. His eyes were up. He just lost it. Dietrich back to Betances. And the Yankees take the opener here in the Bronx. A great start from Luis Severino. 1 hit over the first 6 innings. He struck out 8. Dellin Betances finished it off with a couple of strikeouts in the 9th inning.